Let's just fucking get right into it, huh? What
Just
are we
hop
doing?
right in, huh?
Let's just fucking hop right in this. What are we doing here? Dude, I love the American flag in the background, dude.
Isn't it beautiful? It's beautiful, bro. I got two of them. I meant to hang one, but I haven't gotten around to it. So
Look, you know what it reminds me of? Freedom.
that's exactly right. You
Freedom.
know, it's funny. I was thinking the same thing. It's crazy how aligned our thought processes are. I
If
kind of almost forgot.
we're playing the name game right now, you just show me that picture. It's the first thing that comes to your mind.
We're flipping the script, baby. That's what we're starting with right now.
Freedom. I'm gonna go with
You know what
freedom.
this reminds me of? How USA took all three all three spots and the top three podium finishes at Sheffield for the men's side. That's what this
That's not
reminds
a
me of.
lie.
It's
That's
not a
not a
lie, baby.
lie.
Oh,
Holy
dude.
smokes, was that different because you were there?
Yeah, super grateful, obviously, for that. And I told Pete that too, man. Like, I'm sure in his position, because he had called me like 2 months before the wild cards were going to come out. And he was like, listen, it's not definite. We just need to know, would you do it if we did offer it? And I was like, absolutely, 1000%. And anything you need from me in the meantime to further convince you, absolutely. Let me know. No, super, super grateful for that. And dude, like in their position, this is the biggest meet. I think it's safe to say the biggest meet in powerlifting history.
Oh,
And it's a lot of money to put on. And they need the athletes to show up. And so I give them dude, man, I'm just so thankful that they believed in me enough because if I were in their shoes, I'm sure it's a really tough decision, especially when it comes to those wild cards, because you don't want to waste a seat. And so I hope that I made them feel like they didn't waste a seat.
oh, fuck. Dude, you're okay. I mean, there's so much to unpack here. We got a lot to get into, obviously. But your inclusion, you took this opportunity. There's a couple people that slid in my DMs and they were like, a couple notes there saying some athletes didn't seize the moment where they're on stage with 2,000 people chanting their names. And I mean, we're already past 250,000 people. This is powerlifting. A quarter of them over, 250,000 people already watched that competition. Like that's numbers that like powerlifting doesn't get, my friend. And we're not even a week out already. It hasn't even been a week yet. And people were saying not enough people quite played it up or quite brought that yet. But it's the first year. And some people it's not really in them. They kind of like hit it, wave, bounce. It is what it is. Dude, you were in your element. You were like, before it even happened, Mr. Burn Your Ships has the Viking hair. And like you already had people talking about your showmanship and the show hadn't started. Like
Yeah.
this, were you coming in this? Were you like, this is what I'm gonna do?
Yeah, man. I mean, so I think it's twofold for me, bro. Like I went into this meet with a completely different mindset. Um, and that was to be completely detached from everything. Like I really mean it when I say it. I don't care about winning. I don't care about the money. Um, all I cared about was pushing my body to the absolute extreme. That is all I wanted to do. And that to me is fun. Like that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with training. And so I looked at this meet, dude. It wasn't about like, oh man, like I need to be the best. I need to set world records. I didn't give a shit, dude. Like in my head, I was like, we're gonna see what I'm made of. We're gonna see how far I can push myself. And I almost looked forward to ripping muscle off the bone. I'm not kidding. So because of that, man, it created a different energy for me. To me, I went in, like all right, let's fucking go, man. Like I'm ready to fight. I'm literally 1000% all in. So it was cool, man, because it allowed me to completely separate myself from any and all outcomes. So for me, I just had fun. Like I genuinely had fun. And I did what felt like for me, A was enjoyable, but B, what would be enjoyable for the audience? What would I buy into? What would I want to see out of a performer, out of a lifter? And that's what I kind of tried to bring to the stage, but in an authentic way. I didn't force anything. I love the Viking stuff. That was my mindset. That's my mentality. It kind of fit my brand. And so I went all in with it, and it is
Yeah.
what it is. It's cool. I hope I think it was received well, and I think people enjoyed it and liked it. But 1000%, man. I think we have to realize, and I had again this discussion with Pete too, going into the Sheffield, because he had expressed some minor concerns that maybe some athletes aren't used to, that type of audience and that type of stage and stuff. And one thing I said is, I mean, he's absolutely right to be concerned about that, but we can't allow that concern to hold us back from growing as a sport. And at the end of the day, man, we as athletes at this level, I'm not saying that I'm at a high level, but all of
Hold on,
us,
hold on,
when
hold
we're
on.
at
You're
this
not saying
level,
you're at a high level.
no, I
Jesus.
don't think I'm there yet, bro. I don't think I'm there yet. We'll get there, but I'm not
All
there
right.
yet.
All right.
But I think all of us that share these platforms, bro, we now don't have the luxury of just showing up and lifting weights. That's not what this is anymore. We have the responsibility, the cost, the price of being on this stage and at this event and on this platform is not just lifting weights. You don't get to do that anymore. You could do that at home. When you show up here, it's also about being a showman. It's also about giving the people what they deserve, right? Don't let them leave feeling like they've been cheated. And to me, that's common sense. Like, this is just part of the job now, and it should be fun. It should be fun. So that's kind of how I view it and how I looked at it. And dude, like, I got lucky, bro. Like, as soon as that first attempt, as soon as I stepped on stage, it just felt natural. Like, everything just flowed for me.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, and Delaney said the same thing. Like, Delaney's also very similar. He had a lot of fun with it, and we were just like, yeah, man, like, it just felt like we were in our element. So it was awesome.
Dude, okay, well, first off, the hair, there was literally people in group chats debating if they liked it, didn't like it. Like, it's exactly what you want. Because some people like, oh, it's over the top. It's like, and this is exactly why you do it. Like, this is what the chatter you want. Some people are gonna be like, no, come on, are you serious? And other people like, that's what you fucking do. You lean in. This is Mr. Burn Your Ships, and he's broken. And you waited for that moment, not for nationals, worlds, or whatever, but for Sheffield, the biggest ever. And then also, so like I thought it was amazing. Obviously, like I was like, that's
Thank you,
fucking
man.
so on brand, dude. It was exactly so on brand. And then in terms of hitting this level and being like, for sure, people might be worried about people being taken back, lifters being taken back, but you cannot make any concessions for them. If this isn't for you, you step aside, get shoved aside. This is not for you, then, huh? You don't, by no means can the show pull itself back because someone might be intimidated when they get to that level. That's not how this works. That's not how, like, what sport is going to be like, listen, there's a couple NFL players that are a little daunted coming out to 30,000 people chanting. So if everybody can settle down, it's like, nah, you go back to the minors. And like, not that I'm saying that was even in discussion, but I'm just saying in terms of, yeah, like 100%, everybody's just got to learn to level it up. And everyone did. Everyone did. Like Evie Corrigan, when she first went onto the stage, she visibly looked like, holy shit. When she first stepped on, she won. You know what I mean? Like, she leveled up. Everyone did, to their point, level it up when it came time to. But you're 100% right. This is, if you ain't ready, you better get ready or adjust.
Well,
quick.
dude, honestly, like, don't even put that pressure on yourself. Just expect your body to want to feed off the audience. Like, it's going to naturally happen. Imagine you're in a crowd of people, right? And everyone's really quiet. You're in a library. Everyone's really quiet. They're studying. Are you going to be going in, partying? It's like, that's not going to be your attitude, right? You're going to want to match the energy. You naturally want to do that because you want to fit in, right? We got so lucky as athletes, man. And maybe luck is the wrong word to describe it, but that audience was so damn receptive. SBDs did such a good job with creating the event, hyping it up, marketing it. And as a result, the audience was ready. They were warm, right? The audience was warm. And so, dude, as soon as I stepped on that platform, it was electrifying. I didn't feel like it was crickets. Like, these people were ready for it. They knew it. It was coming, and you could just feel it, man. And so that's kind of the beauty of it too, man. Like, we were very blessed as athletes where this is the first time any powerlifter in history has ever had 1,800 people or more right in front of them to watch them lift like this internationally, obviously, with massive competition. And the audience was receptive, dude. They wanted to see us win. And so, dude, I fed off that energy. It's not all me, it didn't all just like come from me. It was, and I think all the athletes would say the same. Like, I think, again, 100%, it can be a little nerve wracking, and it definitely is like, oh my God, like, are we really doing this? But you just kind of like fall in love with the moment, and I definitely do feel like, you want to be authentic, you want to be who you are, but the best way to describe it is I try to be, especially in those atmospheres, the most extreme version of myself. right? Like we all have different aspects of our personality. When it comes to performing and stuff, like maybe you get hyped up for a lift, good, multiply it by 10 minimum, because that's the show. It's the extreme. That's the show. And that's what people fall in love with. That's the story. That's the brand. You know what I mean? Because we all, that's the thing, bro. We all have little of these, like little bits of these pieces in us. It's all part of our personalities. We're all human. That's why we can relate to certain people and identify with people. So the only way you draw that from people is if you amplify your own, you know?
Mm.
So that's kind of how I went about it. But dude, I'd be lying if I said like, oh yeah, you know, you got to be the guy who just, you know, picks up the crowd and all that shit. No, dude, like the crowd was warm, man. They really amped us all up.
Oh, they were chanting names. They were, if there was like a call they didn't like, this is when you knew we're sports, like we arrived like other major sports. If a call was made and they didn't agree with it, and we'll get into that in a minute, they booed. They boo like a long 2,000 is a little over 2,000 people. 2,000 people boo in this fucking little arena. And it was like you heard it from left to right all over boo. And they started booing calls. Like that's what you see at a baseball game or a basketball. Powerlifting, you don't get that. Or like if they would start chanting a name, if someone's coming out for a big, like a big pull or a big whatever, they would start chanting that person's name, standing up. It was great. There was smoke. It was nuts, man. It
Yeah.
was like it was like a real, like full on professional sport.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Dude, I really can't complain. There is not, I told Pete, man, there's nothing as an athlete, at least, that I could say that I thought, like literally nothing. When there was no moment when I felt like, oh man, that could have been better. Oh, we could have done this. Oh, this is just so annoying. Why did they do it this way? Dude, from top to bottom, just unreal experience. And like everything from, because people probably don't know this, the warm-up room was set up perfectly. They had assigned lifters to platforms, more than enough equipment. The spotters and handlers and stuff like in the warm-up room never have had that before. Those guys were so nice. They were awesome. There was water available. There were snacks available. Like just everything from top to bottom. There was no moment in time during that meet where I felt like, oh man, dude, this is not cool. This is not okay. I genuinely just had such a blast. By far my favorite time competing ever. And it sucks because now I know it's going to be so hard for me to, you know, to feel that again. You know, it's going to be hard for them to top that.
Well,
But I have faith in them.
the plans they got already, man. I've already there's already like talk. I've already had some conversations that are like they are going to. There's already things in motion, and it hasn't even been a week, so it will be bigger. I mean, obviously, I can't say too much, but like, dog, this was just the tip of the iceberg. They're doubling teams. Like some of there's multiple teams on a project like this. They're doubling some of them, man. Like it's going to be huge. And in terms of like, one thing I was going to say, one thing I wish they kept in was when the lifters came on to the platform and they showed their name and their face. And for you, it showed you crossing your arms. But originally, I'm told you did the
Yes,
throat slit
I did.
and the tug out. And they're like, oh, that might be a little too much.
Yeah, I
I
was told.
wish they would have kept that in. I would have kept it in, but I love that after one of your lifts, you got it live on the stream. Anyways,
I know.
you were walking, and then you're like, guess what? This is a bun. You looked over and did the throat slit motion into the camera. I'm like, oh, he snuck it in anyways, like a G. But
Yeah. To
yeah,
be fair, in my defense, I didn't find out that they had intentionally taken that or not used that until like after the meet. So like if they had told me like, Gav, this is a no-fly zone, we get it, it's cool, but we don't want it, I wouldn't have done it. Probably, maybe still
doggy,
would have
come
done
on,
it.
man, it's a
But
fly zone.
yeah, well, that's how I felt. But it was
Hostile
cool. It was
territory.
cool.
Hostile territory. You just got to buzz every now and then. You got to buzz through every now and then. Let everybody know
Yeah,
you're not playing around here.
that's exactly right.
Okay.
That's
But
exactly right.
yeah, dude. How did you feel when you got there, leading into that day? How were you feeling? Did it dawn on you? This is gonna be, I felt like it didn't to me until like the day of. And then I was
No, dude, I didn't really like this sounds really bad. I didn't really care. Like I was like, you know what, man? Like again, dude, my mindset going into this meet and hopefully I'll be able to maintain this, you know, my mindset moving forward is very detached. You know, I was happy to be there, grateful to be there, just wanted to sleep, chill, you know, and lift and just and push my body. And so There were some moments I would catch myself in certain conversations, especially like, I mean, as you know, dude, like you're tired, you've been traveling, maybe you've been having tons of caffeine to keep yourself awake and stuff. And so now like your anxiety goes up and all this other shit. And there were some moments when people would be like talking about it and like, oh man, there's gonna be so many people, blah, blah, blah. But then it would just, it literally lasts for a split second. And I would just come back down and be like, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. It's cool because I kind of, and I don't want to sound super corny and stuff and like, harp on this, but like I've grown stronger in my faith as a Christian. And so for me, dude, I kind of just like trusted God's timing for me. It's kind of like, look, if I have success here, then great. And if not, then that's okay too, man. Like I'm still going to give this my all no matter what happens. And I will do everything I can to make this a successful event, not just for myself as an athlete, but also for the audience, the spectators, for SBD, for everyone involved. And so I kind of went into it very just like pretty relaxed, pretty dialed back because I was just very detached. But it was cool, man. Like the one time that I did feel some nerves was like walking up for that first squat attempt because you could hear the crowd. You can hear the crowd, but you can't see him. And you know how important it is, especially for a lifter like me who really needs his squats, how important that opening attempt is. And so, you're just thinking like, and then, I was in the sauna for like 4 or 5 hours, like literally just before, so I could make weight and stuff. So like, with everything going on, it was just in that moment, I felt some nerves. And then, dude, I'm telling you, as soon as I stepped through the curtain, it just flowed. Like I just let go, like everything just flowed. And yeah, the show went on. So.
Okay, so I'm gonna play a clip of your third squat. We're gonna watch it together.
Oh,
But
great.
the
Okay.
the intense part of that clip, and I had forgotten about this, kept you waiting before you came out to that world record.
Yep.
For an ungodly amount of time. I can't believe I just remembered watching this clip and I'm like, I'm watching me like, oh my God, they're keeping him back there for what was the reason why? Because I could only see the monitor. Were they still low? I guess you couldn't see.
No idea. No idea. I felt like, come on, like, let's go, let's go, let's go. But I didn't notice, I didn't count the seconds really. So for me, I didn't notice it until I watched it back and I was hearing you guys talk about it. And I was like, yeah, now that I think about it, they really did keep me for a while. I mean, it's fine. It is what it is, but I definitely did notice it. I was like, what the hell is taking so long? What the, like,
Yeah,
I didn't know if they were trying to like build it up or what. But yeah, so.
you could tell you had ramped up and then chilled there for a while. And I was hoping like, I hope he doesn't settle. And then as soon as you got the bars loaded, you stepped onto the platform and then like, whoop, no, you were back up. It's like, no, Gavin is just going to, as soon as the crowd saw you, I could see you in the monitor. As soon as the crowd received you, um, I knew like, no, Gavin's right back at 100%. Didn't matter. They could keep him back there for a half hour. As soon as Gavin sees 2,000 people, because they were drinking, you were drinking it in like a thirsty man, and that if they gave you energy, you were going to pop back. This is a secret when it comes to performing in front of a crowd. Acknowledge them and be like, yeah, and they'll give you more. Be like, okay. But if you
Yeah.
don't really acknowledge them a lot, they're not going to give you a whole lot.
No, 100%. And like that's what I was saying before, man. I feed off of that energy, but the key is like it's communication. That's all it is. I'm
Right.
communicating to you and I'm setting the tone, right? And my energy will set that tone. So if I am timid or even if I'm faking it, they'll know, right? So it has to come from like pure passion, which can be hard to do because it's exhausting. But we're lucky that we're in a sport where you have to lift heavy ass weights. And so therefore you have to be pretty amped up, right? Most
Yeah.
people at least. So, and everybody has their style, everybody has their brand. But for me, dude, like I just love, dude, I could have stood in front on that stage, just looking out to the audience the whole fucking meet. I wish dude, bro, I would have cooked my time up. I absolutely would have done because it felt so good to me. It felt like I could just communicate with everyone. And that was, it was cool, man. It felt, it was surreal. Honestly, it felt amazing. But yeah, no, dude, I definitely, I was able to turn it on when I needed to throughout that whole meet. So, which I'm very blessed, that I was able to do that.
Let's watch this bad boy. Have you seen it
A
since?
million times, brother.
Okay, okay. Let's watch it together a million times. Let me pull up my looking at this even right now takes me back and I feel like I'm not even fucking ready. Not even ready yet. Who's that fucking handsome devil? Look at
Oh my
those
goodness.
fucking braids, man. And I love First off, current world record holder Anatoly Novopismani, the 2021 best lifter of that world championships. And that world championships had Jesus Oliveira, Russell Orhe, Jonathan Cayco. Like that was a big worlds. You were there actually. You were a junior and won the junior worlds. 3 years this record stood. And something I want to draw your attention to. Let me ask you right now before we play this. Current attempt, 5.5 kilos over the world record. Your second attempt, you did not attempt the world record. So you were going all in on the third and well beyond. But I was telling people, you had already covered it, but you weren't really worried about chipping the world record. You knew your total was going to be made on squats. And you were, correct me if I'm wrong, totally basing like your 1, 2, 3 attempt. This is where I want to end up, wherever you're going to end up, and just go towards your total. And you weren't basing it on like, let me solidify the record on my second, extend it on my third. You weren't even acknowledging any of that, right?
No, well, so the initial battle plan going into it, Alex and I had thought, okay, let's take and secure the world record on the second attempt, and then we can go up from there. And then I decided to switch to the other kind of strategy, which is what my coach John kind of had posed, which was take around 710, 715 for a second, and then take, above the world record for the third. And the whole purpose of that was, one, to kind of pace us, especially for pulls, but also because if we took the world record on the second, it doesn't give us a ton of breathing room for a third. And no matter what, even if I took 750 as a third, the weights are so close between 731 or 733 and 750 that I'd basically be taking the same weight twice. Yeah. And so we kind of felt like you're going to gas yourself for no reason. You just had a sauna, like all this other stuff. And so, yeah. And also too, the mindset was, which, again, dude, these are tough decisions. These are tough calls to make. But the idea for me and John was, we're not going to act like we're going to miss our third. Like, let's go into this knowing we're going to make our third. So if you go in confident that you're going to make your third, then it makes sense to take, let's say 710, 715 for a second, right? And to pace that. But again, dude, like Alex and I were talking about it quite a bit because, again, my battle plan originally going in was to take the world record for the second and then just go up from there. But yeah, so we just kind of, again, every lifter knows that this is what happens, but based on the day, what do you think is going to be the best move moving forward? And sometimes you make mistakes, and, whether or not that was a mistake, it is what it is. But yeah, that was kind of like the strategy going into it.
It's true that, yes, you're guaranteeing the record if you go for well, you're not guaranteeing it, but you're giving yourself 2 kicks at it if you go on your second, but you're 100% right. The amount of gas you're going to leave in the squat event by going twice that close in the top end, it might be too much. And then we all know by the time Dead's rolled around, you had gas in the tank. We'll get to that in a second. But let's watch this.
I don't know what the delay is.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
My goodness. Oh, he's ready to come out. This is never great for the lifter. But we're good.
Oh, but your husband sells it. There he is. He's back up in it. Don't worry about that.
As soon as you stepped onto the platform,
we have IPF
the energy's
Joe
back
Whiteley on the mic today. Does a great job in getting the crowd going and the lifters as well.
Yeah, when there's a pause like that, it's when the speaker can bring the energy back up for the lifter. And Gavin looks no worse for wear for having paused in the wings. It was a bold move to load this weight, but Gavin's a bold young man.
Wow, that was a squat, man. When you look at it now,
you can't tell from this angle. 2-1, it's good.
And look at that celebration, man.
336.5, and he is fired up today.
And there's when you rolled your finger and stared off into the crowd.
Yelling at the crowd.
Absolutely brilliant. He has been talking a great fight, and he has delivered on it today.
Whoa, what a sight.
All right. So take a look at that. Let me close this off here. Revisiting that, the hype you felt after you hit that, explain to me how high it is to break a world record, not from anybody, but from Anatoly Novopismani, a world record you had chased at the World Championships and missed. to hit it in front of 2,000 people like that and well beyond the world record. How high did that feel?
I mean, I had never felt something like that before. You know, the thing is, man, like going into almost every lift of this meet, I've evolved as a lifter where I kind of have mastered kind of like the art of the void, or like the art of dying in a way. And what I mean by that is you take yourself, at least for me, into such a deep, dark place to be able to perform like that, where to the point where, and I did this for that squat world record, and I did this for the deadlift, where I recall everything that could ever have caused me pain. Anytime I've ever hurt someone I've loved or cared about, anytime someone I've loved has ever hurt me, every ounce of pain I could possibly draw up, I inflict on myself, and I let it consume me to the point where I genuinely want to kill myself. And I look forward to the pain of the lift. Like when I tell you, I wanted that squat to break me. I wanted to see what the fuck that squat could do to me. Like it's riling me up right now. Like I genuinely could picture it.
Dude, I'm rock hard right now. I don't know. Is that weird? I'm so bricked up right now.
Results may vary.
Keep going. Keep going. I'm climaxing with you. But,
Jesus fuck.
Let's play that video again, and I want you to narrate it this
time. Oh fuck.
Okay,
but sorry. Yeah, man. No, dude. And it's crazy because you go from that. You're still in that state of mind of like just pure raw passion, everything you have, and you're successful, right? And so, and especially for me, I had missed it in South Africa. Not only did I miss it, but I also placed fourth, in the world championship. And so going into this meet again, dude, I did not care about placings, didn't care. I didn't even care really about taking the world record. Honestly, I genuinely just wanted to see how heavy I could go. How much do I have in the tank? And that's why I skipped right over the world record. We were like, you know what? We don't think 750 is there right now. Let's take 740 with the chip, and that's what we took. And so, it just, cause think about it, dude, Amar missed. So it kind of just like made sense. Like, yeah, we could have just, but that's not what I want to play. I'm not here to pull punches. And so, dude, it was fucking unreal. Crazy, crazy high. I was so amped up. I was so amped up. Like I just 1000%, I was all in. Like my blood was boiling, bro. I was going crazy.
You could see it afterwards. Like no one can ever take that moment away from you. Like that happened anyways. Now, moments later, it gets overturned.
Mm-hmm.
How much of this do you want to talk about?
Oh, you know me, man. I'm an open book. I'm an open book. Whatever you want to talk about.
Okay. So it gets overturned. TSG's Ben Escrow, who for anyone who doesn't know is Taylor Atwood's coach, goes to the jury. But he said when he's on the way to the jury, it was already being overturned.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened?
All right. Well, so I was obviously very amped up. I went to the back and I was, I got to be careful what I say because I've tried to grow as a man and not be immature or rude or disrespectful. I went to the back and I could tell. So people were like, wait, no, they're challenging it. Ben's challenging it. Oh my gosh, it got overturned, blah, blah. And people in the back, I'm not going to name names, are like, oh my gosh, I'd be so mad if I were you. I can't believe that. And I know I'm like, shut the fuck up because you're happy that this happened. Number one, that's in my head. Immediately, I'm like, I appreciate it, quote unquote. But we're in a competition right now. Don't tell me that you would be mad if this helped you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this helps you. Yeah.
So that was already in my system. But at first, man, I was kind of calm. Like I was like, well, it is what it is. Life goes on. We still got the rest of the meet. I've been here before, so it's like, we'll keep going. And then, dude, I don't know what it was. Something just clicked or switched on me. And as I walked to the elevator to go back down to the warm-up room, I have never been that angry in my life. I would say if I'm going to give an accurate statement within the last like 3 years, I have not been that angry, at least not a time that I can recall. I was absolutely fucking fuming. And that's not okay. Like I need to be able to control, my anger, my emotions, at least to a degree where it doesn't fuck with the meat or anything like that. But man, there was so much passion involved, and I've been giving everything. I felt like, how much more can I fucking give to you? Like, how much more could I possibly give to you? And it's still not being enough. Dude, I was so fucking pissed. And then when I found out it was Ben, I was very, very upset and very angry because, I have some history with TSG. And I think it's okay for me to talk about this because it's, it's real. This experiences. I started working with TSG months ago after South Africa, and things were going okay. We're going well. I had gotten hurt, the most injured I've ever been in my entire lifting career. And then we spent, several blocks trying to get healthy, and I couldn't get healthy. And long story short, they let me go. And then that's when I started working with John Song. And so, I felt like between that situation and the reality that there was no, and I love Taylor and I respect Taylor. I think after he missed that squat, there probably wasn't much chance of him being able to like really, really, really catch up. So I felt like there was literally no reason for you to challenge that squat. You fucking took food off my goddamn table. That's what you did. And this isn't just any meet. This is the Sheffield event. So now it's personal. You reached, grabbed the food off my plate, and then pulled back and gave me the finger. That's what it felt like, because this is powerlifting, and you can have this stupid ass rule and you can do it and nothing will happen to you. And that's fine. That's okay. The reality of the situation is I 1000% took it personally. I'm sure you could tell now I'm still upset about it. I don't listen. I handled it immaturely. Honestly, at first I 100% handled it immaturely. I had approached Taylor in the warm-up room, like, to be completely transparent, and nothing like bad happened, and we're good. But I was just immature about it, man. I was trying to blow off. I was just trying to like deal with those emotions. Yeah, man. And then I had to kind of like go for a walk, and then I cooled down, and and we went with the meet. And I'm grateful for that experience because I learned from it. But man, dude, I was fuming, fuming. And I almost felt like, dude, like, yes, there's all that stuff, but I also knew I fucking like sunk it. Like I knew I could not have gone deeper. That's what I'll say. I'm not going to say that I hit complete depth or whatever. I'm not going to make that argument because I haven't seen any side angles, nothing. I will tell you right now, I could not have gone deeper in those shoes with that positioning in that moment. My hamstrings slammed on my calves and I just couldn't. So that's what also really bothered me, because I was like, again, dude, it was like, man, dude, like you guys don't understand how much I've put into this. And for you guys to just that easily be able to take it away from you, gave it to me. And then because of politics, whatever, I don't know, maybe it was a legitimate call, politics, maybe, I have no idea. But because of some reason, you took it away, you stole it from me. And unfortunately, I don't come from a place where you allow people to simply get in your face, spit in your face, and steal from you, take from you when it's undeserving and it's unearned. And, to me, it's funny. Delaney knows that, like, how I feel about that type of call. I made a statement in 2021 after my third squat was protested. And I said, protesting a lifter's lift is a bitch move. I still stand by that statement. Again, I don't mean any direct disrespect by it. I'm not calling Ben a bitch or anything like that. I have no hate in my heart towards them. They're just playing the game. It's part of the rules. I completely get it. I still believe that it is weak, soft, and dishonorable. I think that if you have to lessen somebody else to make yourself greater, you ain't better than me. You had to take my sword to beat me. That's how I felt. And that's how I still feel. And so, that obviously how I felt about that one call, that rule paired with everything else, and you go from this crazy high, this crazy emotion, to it being stripped from you. Yeah, I was definitely, I was pissed off, man. I was definitely, I was fuming, but you know what? It added fuel to the fire, and it is what it is, but I just, again, I do want to stress that I don't hate anyone for it. And I don't want anyone to feel like, I would go out of my way to like disrespect someone as a result of it. It is what it is, man. It's part of the game. It's the rules. I will trust that it was a legitimate overturn and that the jury was legitimate in what they were trying to do. And I will trust that the IPF refs and the judges were actually paying attention. I will trust all of that. And, I will just do my job to make it even more undeniable and get 3 white lights. Because at the end of the day, if that lift got 3 white lights, would not have been possible to be overturned. And so the responsibility does kind of fall on my shoulders. I can be as mad as I want about it, but at the end of the day, it's my fault. So, that's kind of like the whole story, the whole gist.
Well, I mean, put it this way. If people, I know it's easy to be on the couch watching this and then hear about like, your reaction to it and to be like, oh, that's unsportsmanlike. But how many people in their life will ever be in the situation you described when you're walking up the stairs for your first squat and there's 2,000 people chanting? The music is so loud, you feel it through your chest. You just broke a world record in the sport you love and have the emotion, actually bring themselves to that emotional state to break a record that you said about everybody that you've ever hurt, everybody that's ever hurt you, to come to that emotional state. Most people, like, this is already more intense. And to break a record and celebrate that in the biggest powerlifting event in history with 2,000 people cheering you on, with all your friends and family watching, be like, this is it. This is my redemption. And then to find out, hey, that guy just went over there to take it from you. You might react in a way that you might a day later be like,
here's the thing, man. You would not be fucking human. Let me tell you something. If somebody doesn't react to that, I had to really self-reflect because I genuinely want to. I'm a very self-aware person. I try to be, at least. I shouldn't say that. I try my best to be self-aware and notice my flaws, and I have a fuck ton of them. And I do my best to like really just try and make sure that I'm growing, at least. I'm moving in a positive direction. And so after this meet, I was really thinking back and I was like, man, dude, like, how could I have handled that differently? What happened? Like what? And I started to think, and, I had a conversation with my mom as well. And the amount of passion that was infused into that meet, let alone that lift, was insane, was immense. How could you not expect that energy to be transferred? Where's it gonna go? It doesn't just shrink. It doesn't go to zero. It's still fucking there, And so the reality is, I think I had a moment of being human and I felt like nothing bad happened, but I was pissed, man. And I think what people need to understand too is 2 things. Number one, this is not a 16-game season for us. I compete twice a year, if that, right? That means I get a total of 9 + 9, 18 attempts. That's it for a year's worth of training. And that's me being generous because I've been training for over a decade. So for that long, that much effort, blood, sweat, tears, everything I fucking put into this for one shot at creating history. That's what I get. If we're being generous, 18. But really, it's one fucking shot at creating history, creating a legacy, inspiring people to do even more than I can do. And yet to have that taken away,
you get it.
I'm going to fucking react.
Taken away.
Yeah, you're right, to get it and then have it taken away. And I think the second thing that people need to understand is, because I'm seeing a lot of this on social media lately, is a lot of people like, oh, there needs to be more shit talking and this is sports and this is the game, until it fucking happens. And then everybody gets all soft and sad. It's unbelievable. And I'm very grateful. Taylor is my boy and Taylor's a dog. And Taylor is dude, he's where he's at for a fucking reason. He's one of the best in the world. People are forgetting it because of this one performance. Brother,
yeah,
he's a dog, man. He's been the best.
Yeah.
He's been the best. He's been through the trenches. He didn't just get there easily. He had to fight. And so I'm very grateful. He understood where I was coming from in those moments. And of course, I apologized to him for coming up. He had nothing to do with that call. It was just his coaches and stuff. And so, and again, we're boys, and I'm very grateful that he understood. We're both competitors at heart. So he got it. But man, dude, it's insane. You hear some of these people that talk all this shit, whatever, and when push comes to shove, they retreat. It's incredible. Or they get upset about it. It's like, dog, we're fucking competing. Forget about the money. This is legacy, bro. This is the best in the world. And you're going to tell me, like, what? So that's how I felt. That's how I feel when I hear people, speak on the competitive nature of sports, and especially the competitive nature of powerlifting that I think a lot of lifters have the luxury of not dealing with, because everybody's all buddy. Everybody's very good friends, and that's okay. That's okay. But when it's game time, when it is game time and we are putting everything on the line, do you know how hard Jonathan Cayco has to work to be there time and time again? You said it yourself, man. He battles every fucking meet. he's got to bleed, man. He's got to bleed. You think it's just going to be easy to take it from him? You think I'm going to let somebody just take from me? Do you think I'm going to let you do that? You're going to have to break yourself to beat me. That's how I look at it. And I'm sure he looks at it the same way. All of us do. That's why we're here. That's why we're at this event. That's the difference. And so, of course, man, of course, we're going to have those. It's going to be competitive. And like, that's not an excuse for us to act immature or be inappropriate or be disrespectful and stuff like that. I'm not speaking on, I'm not excusing that kind of behavior. All I'm saying is that we should recognize that this is a sport and people will be competitive. And when we do give everything we have, you better bet your fucking bottom dollar we're going to actually give everything we fucking have. It's just what it is. It's not some term that we throw around because of marketing. It's because it's who we are. It's what we do. It's how we live. So yeah, that's my rant.
well, first off, I mean, you're a passionate dude. And second of, I'll say like, so I talked to Taylor. What I found out first off, that you and Taylor were chest to chest for a second there. I was like, Gavin and Taylor, because you are boys. Yeah. Like you guys are boys. And then when I talked to you, you're like, dude, I went for a walk, came back and apologized. Like, I'm glad you apologized to him because it's your boy. And then second off, then I talked to Taylor and I'm like, you and Gavin are good, right? And Taylor said, he was like, dude, like, I get it. Taylor's like, we're good, man. Like, he's like, Taylor's the dude. I said this on the Jesus Oliveira's podcast. Taylor's the same dude at 5'6", hits the EFL, Canadian Football League, like pro football. He's battling giants with 30,000 people cheering for him to get run over by a 300-pound man. He's a dog. So a dude who for 10 seconds was super high and then super hot and got chest to chest with him for a second. And then afterwards came back and like, dude, I am sorry. You're my boy. And fucking, if I could take it back, I would. Taylor's been in way more intense situations with probably teammates on the football field. He's a dog, and he was like out partying. We were all doing the damn thing that night. It was all we've all hung out since then, obviously. Just so everyone wants to know, like, how bad was it? Water under the bridge pretty quickly, but it's just in a lot of respects, it's better. It was a guy like Taylor who's like, he's tough. You're not going to hurt his feelings. And he'll be like, whatever, dude.
And he, look, man, he handled it really extremely, extremely well, obviously better than I did. And we're talking about a matter of like 5 to 10 seconds. So like literally as soon as I made, I mean, I guess I could say it. It doesn't really matter. I went up to Taylor and I was like, your coaches are fucking pussies and, whatever. That's basically what I said. That's what I said. And as soon as I said it, I was like, first of all, number one, Taylor has nothing to do with this. Like nothing. Second of all, it's completely immature and uncalled for. And I'm just talking shit. I'm pissed off, and I should be better. As an athlete, I should be better. As a leader, I should be better. And third, he's my boy, and I respect him, and I love him, man. I want the best for him. And so, so because of that, like, dude, literally within seconds, like I shook his hand and I started apologizing. I apologized to his dad. And then, as look, we're competing, save it for after the meet. So then, once the meet was done, we all got drug tested and it's time to go home. Again, I just made sure I drove home the point, to Taylor that, I love him. He's my boy. And I apologized, for letting, my anger get the best of me in those moments. And again, I don't think that anything was really that bad, and we were even really talking shit to each other. We did get chest to chest for a very brief moment, but it wasn't like we were gonna fight each other or anything like that. And again, dude, we're competitors, and I think he respects that and he appreciates that, as I do in him, and so yeah, man. I mean, and it's just what it is. It's kind of part of the game, and we wouldn't be human if it didn't happen, I don't think so. And I think if anything, it kind of makes our relationship stronger too, I hope, but I like I said, it really was not that big of a deal. A lot of people love drama, and that's so to them, they're blowing it up, but it really was not that big of a deal. It was like a matter of seconds. Regardless though, yeah, dude, I 100% look back and I'm like, man, dude, I needed to, I've never had that happen before where I was so so angry that I just like let that, bro. I literally, as soon as I saw Taylor, I beelined, and and again, it wasn't like you suck, you're a fucking piece of shit. It was genuinely just his coaches that I was talking shit.
Right.
I was like, dude, your
But he
coaches
didn't.
suck.
But when you come at someone with energy, he's like, "What the fuck?" And
Oh,
Taylor's,
yeah.
you're gonna end up
Yeah.
chest to chest with another grown
No,
ass man.
at first he was a little taken back. He's like, dude, what are you talking about? Which of course, because what the fuck does, he's
He
had nothing to do
literally
with it.
probably had no idea
Yeah,
what the
no
fuck you're
idea.
talking about.
No idea. And then, yeah. And then, of course he started, to get a little heat, because that's just what it is. That's what the environment was. But again, it was a matter of seconds. I did apologize. And and I did make sure I apologized to his father as well. And they both were very, very forgiving, very accepting. And I'm very grateful for that, because it is what it is. But I do appreciate that, because again, it's as much as it is a part of the game, it's not to me, it's not leadership behavior, so
Well, it's not a part of the game to go
to be passionate.
No, to go chest to chest with someone you're competing against.
Oh no, well, I mean,
passion, yes.
But yes, I don't know if I agree with that, because like if we look at other sports, bro, like that's what it is. The culture and the environment of powerlifting is very different. But dude, could you imagine, like, you're talking about like MJ, Kobe. Imagine if they had to warm up in the same room together and then go out for free throws or 3-pointers, and like just imagine what that atmosphere looks like. They're gonna be chirping the whole fucking time. Like that's just because they both so I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I think it's abnormal, because again, it's just not, we all like to talk about all this stuff, but when it actually happens, people's reactions are a little bit different in the community.
It's the only thing would be, if it happened too often, it's not going to be two boys that'll squash it in 2 seconds. It'll be two rivals who don't really know each other that well and already don't like each other, and it'll actually escalate. You know what I mean? That's where.
Okay, but here's the thing though. So like, that's where sports maturity comes in, and I knew for sure, no matter what, I was never going to throw hands. You know what I mean? Like that was never.
That's why thank God you're boys. Also, because you're boys, he'll accept an apology, and it'll be like, I knew you guys would work it out because you're boys. That's why it's like easier to, like, thank God it is your boy in a lot of ways. Because it's
absolutely,
you can just be, can 100%. I talk to you, man? When your friend comes up to you and apologizes to your face 2 seconds later, it's tough to be like, and you explain, but
yeah. And I mean, look, he had every right, of course, to be very upset and very, taken aback and whatever. And I, like I said, man, I appreciate him being the bigger man in this situation. Like I really do. Like I said, I do think that I don't think people are understanding like how, again, I'm not excusing any sort of behavior. I'm just trying to speak on the passion that comes behind this stuff. So that way people understand that it's not kind of just like out of the blue, out of nowhere. There's so much passion there for everyone, for every lifter. And just the nature of us, Delaney's, similar situation where, we do come from a sports background. And so, I'm comfortable being chest to chest, to some degree. I don't, I'm not saying that that's what you look for. You don't look for the conflict. But it's not something that's like, again, like you said, Taylor's in the CFL. The dude's a dog. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, it's not gonna throw him off his game, in that way. And so, again, it's not something that you expect, but it's just, like I said, it's kind of almost like part of competition. And in some ways, it can make it more fun and more alive and more.
We've talked about it for like, we've talked about a good chunk. Here's the thing. Taylor's a dog. You're a dog. Both you guys literally were hanging out that night. But there will be some people whom that would be crazy. This would be crazy.
Yeah, and I won't allow that to happen again. I mean, like I said, we're talking about a matter of seconds, but still, I'll go for a fucking walk 10 seconds earlier than I did. That's the plan. And that's all it is, man. Like I said, now that, again, I've experienced it, I've never, ever had a high like that in terms of, being on that stage, finally achieving what I've been
some people never will
for so long. And then to have it stripped away from me. And then, and I said the same thing because I did have a conversation with Ben and Jason. Anything that could have been fuel for the fire was added, like anything in my head. And so, and it was, dude, I genuinely felt like I almost like couldn't help it, because it went from me being like, oh, you know what? Oh man, they took it away. I guess it is. And then boom, it was just like, as I was walking to the elevator, I just was like, are you fucking kidding me? No. And I just let that kind of get the better of me. And like I said, man, it's not, I am human. And I, like I said, I hope, of course, I mean, and it seems like they do, both Taylor and his dad, know that my apology is very sincere. But yeah, at the same time, I want to learn from it. I want to grow from it. I don't think we really have to worry about stuff like that moving forward. But like I said, man, I think it's just kind of, it is part of the locker room. Like I think it is kind of, again, not that it should be expected or welcomed, but I think it would be weird to almost expect it not to happen sometimes, so.
Well, so I know you talked to Ben too, just to wrap up that side. And
Mhm.
he was explaining that the way he views it wasn't it was by no means personal. I could tell you right now were calling against Jesus Oliveras as well, trying to overturn, because what they knew, because Ben's not here. So let me just offer this just to be
No, I know. Yeah. And everything you tell me, he's told me. Yeah.
right. And he's told you as well. But just for people listening, Ben had explained they knew Taylor was not 100% and they needed everything to go his way. And when he's missing lifts and other people are hitting, so it wasn't just a Gavin thing. I know Ben doesn't have any like ill will towards you. He told me before and afterwards, but they needed Taylor to move up some notches. So he actually protested other lifters as well. And then he was like, yeah, I wanted to talk to Gavin to explain, to articulate, I'm going to advocate and fight for my guy. And he doesn't see it quite the same. He's not coming from the same passion background in terms of like, it's just personalities too. When you see Ben and Jason, they don't carry themselves like you, Taylor. They're different dudes, so they'll view it differently. And I will take what they say on face value as genuine, as like we are operating to try to do we're going to advocate for Taylor, whoever, as best we can, and we don't attach feelings like that. Yeah. But on the flip side, fucking sometimes you're going to come across a young guy like yourself whom, like, if he just did what he did and you're seeing him celebrate on the platform like that, you're going to see him 30 seconds later in the warm-up room. Fuck,
well,
man.
Especially because it was like that. Again, 99 coaches out of 100 will take advantage of that rule. And I totally understand that. And they have every right to do that. And I think less of them for that. I think it's really more so just, my issue is with the rule, only because of the culture, not the culture, the structure of the sport, and like quite literally the logistics of things and how we do things and how we win. But also, of course, in my heart, I don't play the game. I didn't join powerlifting because I love the sport of powerlifting. I joined powerlifting because I love the idea of being the best and being the strongest, and so it just happened to be that powerlifting fit the mold, and it became the vehicle, let's say, to get to the destination that I want. And so, yeah, of course it's frustrating. Look, man, I like I said before, dude, I have, I'm sure, and as this is a perfect example, I have made plenty of mistakes. And I'm sure I've done things that have pissed people off or made people think, man, he's such a jerk. He's such an asshole. Why would he do that? I am so freaking far from perfect. I'm not going to hold this against anyone or hate anybody for it or whatever. It's just, it is what it is, man. I kind of just like let it go. And again, I want to emphasize, had I gotten 3 white lights, Ben could never protest it. It's off the table. It's not even a question. And so it's my job to do that, man. As an athlete, it's my job to do that, especially at this level. Every single one of us should be getting 3 white lights on every single lift. We're supposed to be the best. We're supposed to be so technically proficient, so strong that we're infallible. That really is what that is, right? Never miss a 3-pointer. To kind of create that analogy. That's it. That's what it is. And so it's my fault for not being at that level, for not rising to that standard. Obviously I'm frustrated because I thought that I had fixed that problem. But it's okay. It is what it is, man. It just means there's more work that I have to do. And yeah, I mean, of course I was definitely very upset, and I did take it personally. I still take it personally. In fact, my prep for the World Championships in Malta, it feels the most personal, going into this meet, and I am coming for everything, but regardless, I definitely understand it. It's part of the rules. Do I think it's soft and do I think it's weak? Absolutely. I think it's it's completely dishonorable, but it's
for
it's
a
okay.
minute, for a fucking minute, when you were talking about like, look at it's on me. I need 3 white lights, and this is why we're here, and like it's all blah blah blah, and it is what it is, and this is sports, and you're like, but I will burn down their houses, and I will, and I just want to say I take it personally, and
No,
it's
no,
on
no.
site if I see them.
Listen. There are consequences to our decisions, Ryan. Okay.
Wow.
There are consequences to our decisions. And it is my responsibility to make sure that as an athlete, I rise to the standard. Like I said, I 100%, I want the best. I want Taylor to be his best. I want Cayco to be his best. Jesus to be his best. I don't particularly believe in the idea of having to cheapen or lessen your competitor in the sport of powerlifting in order to beat them, because it means you were not stronger than them. It simply means you got kind of, it almost feels like you kind of got lucky, and they took something from somebody else. And because you couldn't handle them head on, you had to take something from them in order to win. And that's what it feels like for me. Of course, again, people could say I'm biased, but that's like a law and I hope every handler, whoever works with me moving forward, understands that is a law of mine. I will not, because dude, I know how hard these lifters work. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the hardest worker in the room, because there are guys that are working probably 10 times hard. I'm doing everything I can on my end. And of course, I'm always pushing myself, but we all work hard, man. We all work so damn hard to be here. We put so much into this. And for the longest time, we don't get paid to do it. It's truly, truly because we just believe in ourselves, and we believe in becoming the best, and we do it out of passion, out of love for this. And so I recognize that. And so, if Cayco hits a world record bench, right, and he gets one red light because, let's say, elbow depth or something like that, fuck, man, I'll just be stronger, man. He deserves that. If he got the good lift, let him have the good. I know everything it took to get to that point and to achieve that. There's enough variables as it is, that stop you from being your best on game day. If you finally get the white lights that you need to secure the lift that you've been gunning for and you've been working your ass off for, man, dude, like, more power to you. Grateful for you. I'm happy for you. I'm clapping for you. Now it's my turn. Let's see if I can do better. That's how I feel. So, again, it's not so much like it's personal, towards like Ben or, Taylor or anything like that. It's more so it feels personal towards like just competition in general. Now I feel like
in a competitive sense.
I've been targeted. Yes. And so now I'm going to absolutely bite back. And that's just what it is, and we do that by rising to the standard and being absolutely undeniable. That's how you do
it. Yes. Okay. There it is. There's the wrap up of the end. That makes it a whoop. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
Because for people listening, just so they understand, you and Ben also talked it out. You and Jason talked it out. And you guys, even if you would be like, I wouldn't do this, you would do that, but it's all within the rules. And like, exactly like you said, we're competitive against each other in that environment for Sheffield. And you use it as fire. You never have to agree on that. You know what I mean? It's just in sports, I'd conduct myself differently. And that fuels me going into Malta. Well, let's not get to Malta yet, but moving into Malta, yeah, that'll be the fuel for the fire. But let's finish off on Sheffield, because the bench rolls around, the deadlifts roll around. Cayco does his damn thing on bench press, grabs chips, collecting money. Cayco had missed his third squat. It was just a 2.5 kilo jump though, so he lost 2.5 kilos on it. You guys both do a phenomenal job on the bench press. Going into deadlifts, 340 moved like, I mean, when you loaded up 340, I knew it was a PR, and I knew it took you, 2 attempts to get 335. And previously, deadlifts is where you start losing ground, but now you're in Cayco range for your deadlift. No longer is that the case anymore. He's Mr. Bench Press, but now the way 340 moved, you look like you had 345 in you on that day, let alone by the time we get to Malta. You're going to start, if you start getting towards, if you had 345 on that day, and you had to play it the way you played it because you lost that squat. If you had gotten that squat, you handle it differently. You lost the squat. Now you start gambling. So I understand. Let's say you got 345 on that day. If we're talking 350 by Malta, now you're in Gustav Hedlund range. Like, your deadlift is, what the hell happened to your deadlift? How is this moving like this?
Yeah. Well, in terms of the calls, yeah, I completely trusted Alex to make the right call. I knew that we were on the same wavelength in terms of what we wanted from this meet. And this too, we're going all in. I had no idea how 750 would move, but in the back of my mind, I knew I would have to pull at least 750 if we wanted to go out on our shield here. And so I just trusted Alex. Him and I, like I said, we didn't even say a word. He put in, whatever number he put in, and I knew that it was going to be probably around 750. I was super confident going into that lift. I just felt relaxed. I felt good. Of course, I kind of put myself back into that place and just drew on all the things that I draw on to, again, I get almost like borderline suicidal, and that's the fuel that I use to get into, I basically come to hate myself more than anything. Like I genuinely I allow myself to hate myself, and that's the fuel that I use. And that's, you almost like look forward to the pain. You almost like look forward to it. And that's what I use. And so, yeah, so the lift was successful, obviously. And I definitely do agree. I think we probably had maybe another 5 kilo. But yeah, so John,
2020 hindsight, but yeah,
of course,
Yeah.
2020. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, John Song has done a phenomenal job coaching me since I want to say we started working together maybe like October, November-ish. I'm not sure, maybe around November, December. And he took me from, dude, I literally could not tie my shoes without back pain, to what we did at Sheffield, and it's just, when it came to the technique work, it was just constant tweaks, and especially for deadlift. So basically what happened was on week 4 of the second to last block, we went to pull 740. Which is what is that, 335 or something like that. So we went to pull that in the gym. I tried it 5 times. It was a mistake. I should have done that because it burnt me out. But I tried it 5 times, and I tried it 3 times sumo, 2 times conventional. The reason why, every single attempt, I got it to my knees and I could not lock it out.
Damn.
And in my head, and I have the videos and stuff, and it flies off the floor, hits my knees, can't lock it out. And in my head, I'm thinking, this is going to be an issue. This is not going to be something that's like, oh, it's going to happen on me. It's there on meet day. This is not this, that's not the situation. We need to figure this out. And so we kept playing around with deadlift, technique. And then fast forward till about 2 weeks out, he gave me this one cue that just clicked. Like it made everything work. We went through it. So 2 weeks out, we basically changed my entire deadlift technique. And it worked. And yeah,
Dude, what was that cue?
By the grace of God. Oh, you want
Everybody
me to just
wants
give
to
out my
hear it.
secrets for free, huh?
Everybody's like, what is that fucking cue?
You know what? I will give it out because
on your subscription on Instagram.
it would be inconsistent with my character if I gate kept this information, because it means that I'm afraid you'd be stronger as I want you all to be stronger. So this is basically what we did. So essentially, we emphasized the hinge. The biggest piece was creating extension in my back, but more specifically, almost like my lower back. So what that did was it completely changed the lockout. I didn't do anything in terms of lats or anything like that. It was get into position, slight dip, kind of like cover the bar is what we call it, but we're almost like hunching over the bar. Then, and if you watch the videos of my deadlifts, you'll see it. Everything gets kind of broken down into these steps. You'll see me arch my back, and then I just hinge over, right? And then I used to like really try and pull slack and stuff like that. Now, all I do is once I hinge over, I hip hike. The hip hike just lets me hear the click of the bar against the plates, and then I get into position and I go, and I just press straight through the floor. And because my back is arched or extended in extension, it just helps with lockout a ton. And so that's why I was able to, it just, dude, it changed everything. And obviously, we'll see. Sometimes it's tough. I think every lifter has struggled with this. Like, some days technique feels great, other days technique doesn't, but I'm hoping if we can carry this momentum, we'll definitely be, in the 760, 771 range, but we'll see.
Man. So adding it all up, if you had gotten that squat, you would have got an 891.5.
Was it 891 or would have been like 896?
Hold on one second. Let's pull this up.
It was 336 and a half, 215, and then 340.
So you got 325 and you missed 336 and a half.
Right.
The difference is 11.5, right?
Yeah, let me.
So your total is 880.
Yeah, you're
if we
right.
put 11
and a half.
Yeah. 891 and a half, brother. Cayco hit 884 that day. Now, if Cayco hit his third squat as well, he'd hit 886 and a half. You guys are so close. We're playing the game right now. Cayco will be like, well, let me retake this or whatever the hell. We're playing the game right now. All I'm saying is, you're right there. You just need that 9 for 9 day where your squats go. You need that third squat. You have that third squat. You could be a world champion. You could be the Sheffield. You could be the whole 9. You need that third squat to get in. It's And I'm not telling you something that you don't already know. And I know you're thinking about it and you're probably talking about it with your coach. And you're like, look, if I'm into the 890s now and we start throwing on more kilos on the deadlift, like it's going, you're going to be a tough guy to beat come Worlds. Or what do you think is the difference here? Is it just literally making that third squat undeniable and you're pretty much you're cruising? Because you've had a couple close ones now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have to go 9 for 9, of course. But I don't plan on pulling punches, obviously. So, I'm not going into it thinking like, and every coach, and it's fine because it's their responsibility to do this, but every coach tends to be a little bit more conservative, and they tend to think about the game plan and how are things going to add up and what can give us the best shot at, and this is the best way to put it. What is the minimum required to win? The minimum needed. That's not how I think. I don't enjoy competing when I think like that. I tried that, dude. I tried that for Sweden, South Africa, and I tried that even for USV. It's not me. It's just not. It doesn't work that way. So I'm gonna go in just to see what my body is capable of. I don't really care, what happens. And of course, the competitor in me wants to win and wants world records and all this other stuff. But genuinely, I've come back to this place of enjoying my training. And for me, that means what is my body capable of? How far can I push myself? I want to see what my limits are and see if we can, once we see what those limits are, push past them in the moment, and that's what I look forward to. So, of course, yeah, to answer your question, we need to go 9 for 9, I'm sure. Cayco's a phenomenal competitor, and he's Mr. Perfect, so I'm sure he won't be missing, at Worlds. And I'm just going to assume that he's going to build on his total, so I'm going to assume he's going to hit around 900, that's what I'll go in thinking, and we'll just have to do better. And that's it. You can sure as hell bet that I'm not going to protest one of his lifts. That's for sure.
Yeah, you fucking should though. And that's the villain arc that people like, how if it's for the gold medal and he gets the last deadlift, and that's where it's like, Gavin,
no, because dude, we don't listen, man. There's new world champions every single year. No,
did you see when Hulk Hogan dyed his beard black for a little while, and he was Hollywood Hogan and he became a bad guy?
Yeah.
This is what we're doing in Malta. That's what. Listen. No, just hear me out. Hear me out. Just hear me out, doggy. It's the villain arc. And you become the world champion and you go to Sheffield and all of a sudden you're that guy. Right? I don't know.
Villain is the wrong. I think I'd rather be like the anti-hero. You know what I mean?
Okay, anti-hero. You're Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It just doesn't move me the way it used to, man. Like, titles matter to me. The gold matters to me. But this sounds weird, but I believe it will come to me no matter what. I believe I was born for it. It's meant to come to me. Like, I genuinely believe that. I trust that. And some people think that's cocky, and this is kind of the flip side of the coin. I believe you're meant for it too. I genuinely do. Like, whatever it is that you're passionate about, that you're ambitious, I genuinely believe you were born to be fucking phenomenal at whatever it is that you have in your mind, that you've set in your mind that you want to accomplish. I genuinely believe you're capable of it. I believe I'm capable of it as well. And so, I'm not really worried about that, man. Like, I'm not going to chase it. If it happens and it comes, dude, when I was going into Sheffield, dude, I didn't even think I would podium. I was like, whatever happens. Like, I have no idea how good these guys are. I don't even know how the scoring system works. I found out how the scoring system works the night before. So, I was like, yeah, I don't really care. I was like, I just want to genuinely burn my ships, go all in. For Worlds, I will not only be burning my ships, I will be burning everyone else's, and no one will have a chance of retreat. We will all be stuck together, and we will all fight together to see who's the biggest, baddest, strongest motherfucker on the platform. But that's what I'm excited for, man. I'm excited for the battle and for having the opportunity to get pushed and go all in, So yeah. So, and if Jonathan wins again, then, and he deserves to win, then that's it, man. Like, that has nothing. I'm not ever going to think like, oh man, if I just protested, I would have won, blah, blah. If I have to think like that, that means I don't have enough faith in myself, enough faith in my team, and enough faith in my work, So yeah, I'm excited. I definitely am excited. And I'm obviously, of course, going to do everything I can to be as strong as possible on the day.
Dude, I was talking to somebody, I forget who it was now, I think it was at the venue, or not at the venue, but like when we were all in Sheffield. And we were talking about like a temp selection, et cetera. And I remember the person saying like, that's, you got to play the game. You got to, you'll feel differently if you win, lose, or whatever. And I remember trying to explain, like, I got you about winning, winning's fun, etc. But I'm telling this person, if you got a guy like Gavin who doesn't think like you think, you got to first off say that. But his whole motivation, his whole mind frame, every ounce about him, it's a unique perspective. You can't clip that guy's wings or try to change him. You have to hop on that wild horse and just fucking steer it in the direction as best you can, but don't try to break that horse and domesticate it and have it. It's not going to happen. When he's rolling into Worlds or Sheffield, if he's like, we're going all in on squats, this is my top end squat, to an extent, you try to steer a little bit, you got to be careful. The last thing you want to do is get too analytical with this guy and try to get in his head. Like you said, like you kind of like you're saying, walking into South Africa and some of these other meets where you're like, you know what? It for a guy who's all about passion, you can't kill that passion with analytics.
Yeah, man, I agree completely. I'm glad that you see it that way, or at least you understand it.
I understand.
Yeah, it's I tried it, man. I tried it. I bought the bullshit. I drank the Kool-Aid. You know, I got it. Oh, we just need the minimum. It sounds nerdy and it sounds smart and it sounds correct. That's the crazy part. It sounds correct.
It probably is.
They trick you, brother. They trick you. No. But ready for this?
But
oh my gosh, this is gonna be great.
Okay.
So I might catch some heat for this, and it's all love. It's never disrespectful. You know, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to people. Here's the thing: for the longest time before Sheffield, athletes show up to Worlds. Most of them, or actually, I can't say that because I don't truly know. Some athletes can show up and just do whatever they got to do and then leave and they win, right? Like they don't really have it. The class isn't stacked. That's nothing against them. They're just that fucking strong that nobody's close, right? But the point that I'm getting at here is they don't have to push. They don't have to. So let me tell you this, ready? If nobody's in my class, no Cayco, no Gustav, no Emil, no Sasha, nobody, you think I'm still going to pull back? I'm going to do the bare minimum to win, to take gold? What the fuck does it mean then? What is the gold worth? I didn't fight. I didn't do anything. I didn't bleed. What the hell is the point? It's worthless. It's like it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't register. When you are a champion, that you don't get a hall pass. You are a champion at all times. You hold yourself accountable to that standard at all times. That means you're going to give your all and be your best at all fucking times, no matter what. And that means taking risks. They can be calculated. I'm not saying take something that isn't humanly possible for you on that day. I am saying believe in yourself. Test yourself. That's what we're here for. Let's see what the fuck you're worth, man. You want to just have fun and whatever, go to a local meet. Fine. But this is a championship. So behave like it. That's how I feel. Because, and dude, like Amanda Lawrence, she's so sweet. I love her. Like, she's such a great friend of mine. Like, I genuinely am so happy that she's like, she's a friend of mine. Like, I genuinely am so happy I know her. She made a comment. She was like, you know what? I'm done working my ass off just to go to Worlds and like, not go all out, not see what I'm capable of, whatever, just do what I have to do. And I remember thinking like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. You're right. You work too damn hard. You work too hard to be the queen of powerlifting, to be the best in the world, to show up and not show the world what you got, because we know it's there. And I think Sheffield reignited that flame. It woke people the fuck up and realized like, oh wait, there's no world title to lose. There's no risk. Okay, great. We can go all out. Now take that same mindset and apply that to every single competition. Now it's, dude, oh my God. Now it's going to be crazy. Now
can I say something?
Up.
Yeah,
go for it.
You got me bricked up again, buddy. You're fucking rock hard right now. When you keep going about Malta now. All right. No, but honestly, I get it. I get, the world record at Sheffield is going to be X amount of money. So some people are like, God damn, man, I'm not going to fumble my bag. But I get both. Not everybody's the same. Like, I respect that. And I don't want everybody to be the same. I don't want everybody to be Gavin. I don't want everybody to be whatever. Go through the fucking list. That's what makes Gavin special. Miss Mary, you know what I mean? Like,
that. Thank you.
Well, it's true.
For better or for worse.
but I mean, it's the truth though, is like, we need people like you as well. It is like when someone comes on here, it's like, I'm sorry, I'm passionate to a fucking fault. I will fumble my own bag because I have to. I will bypass the game plan because I'm going all in on my third squat. What about securing on the second? fuck the second if it messes up my third, because I want to see how far I can go in my third. And it's like that. It's like, yeah, but if you're like, no, we're going all in. Don't, it's like when someone's passionate, if you're talking to a musician, you would never want to get involved and start talking about take away any of their passion. But sometimes when it comes to sports, you take an athlete and sometimes you feel like you got to a little bit. And it's like, nah, to an extent, if you treat him like an artist as well, you should be like, let this guy, the passion is driving this guy day in, day out in training. And this is how he's going to get up for Worlds. Just let him go all in.
And it's more fun. It's more fun, brother. It's so much more fun because now I enjoy, like, I look forward to it. And this is my thing, bro. I fell in love with training again because, you know, life got hard again. And as you know, there's peaks and valleys and stuff. And there's a lot that goes on in my mind. And it's just, I'm sure, you know, maybe we'll touch on it. But the reality is there's nothing negative that somebody else could say that I haven't already said to myself, you know? And so because of that, man, it's like the training becomes this like positive way to hurt myself in a way, you know, like almost like this, let's inflict as much pain, let's grow, let's just push my body as hard as we can push it, and let's see what I'm truly made of. Like that's the beauty of it. And it's so much fun, and there's a community and there's a culture to it, and you're doing it with your boys, you're going through it with your boys, and it's amazing, dude. It's so much fun. If you take that and you put it on the platform where you let go, dude, it's so freeing when you just let go of the outcome. Let it go. Whatever happens will happen. All that matters right now, give everything you have in these next 10 seconds that it's going to take for you to move this weight. That's it. Give everything you have. What's the worst that could happen? You die? Brother, you could die tomorrow. Like, who cares?
We're all going to die.
Exactly. And that's freeing. It's a freeing thought once you embrace it. Give everything you have. And that's, dude, it makes it so much more fun. So for me, yeah, 100%, it definitely makes it more fun. And like, look, man, I get it. It's the same thing with the rule, you know, the protesting and lifters lift rule. I get it. It's people will use it because it makes sense. Like, it's totally fine. Coaches, I know so many coaches that think it's their responsibility to do that. Totally understandable. Totally cool. I get it. And yeah, and it's just, you know, it's just not how I think. I think you create a legacy through the passion and through your own personality. You know, like I said, nobody's going to remember how many chips. I don't know how many fucking world championships Ed Cohen has won. I don't even know how many Arnold has won. But I just know Ed Cohen and I know Arnold and I know the legacy they've created, right? And so that was through their story, their brand, who they were, and their character kind of showing through, you know. So that's what I kind of care more about. But yeah, I definitely should be pulled back sometimes.
Doug, you know, some people use a fucking hashtag and they just use it and they're not actually that. But you literally are like the burn your ships mentality of all in. All they got to do is listen to one podcast and they would be like, no, this guy 100% actually is like
trying, man. I'm trying
he
to
really
live up to that. Yeah.
He really is. Like, people think like when you showed up with the Viking hair and it's, you know, no, he really is as passionate. He's not putting on a show. This legitimately, he will throw it all away.
No, it was 100% me.
I know. This is what the thing, and this is what I love about you. This is what's like inspiring, where you're around a guy like this and you get the energy and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do something crazy. Let's go all in. Let's go all in with something. Yeah. I want to like fucking go in on a bad investment with you or something. I don't know. Let's fucking do something crazy right now. But I don't know. I get it, man. And it's and again, not everybody could do this, and not everybody's going to understand it, and probably best they didn't. It's not going to work out for everybody that way. Nobody can. We don't have the same path, that's for sure. Yeah. But yeah, and there was something else we were touching on right there, but I want to double back. Oh, yeah. So because of South Africa, or because of Sheffield, sorry, a lot of people. I'm not going to necessarily name names because some people have come out with it and some people have not. Some people have been hinting at it and some people have not. But I could tell you right now, big name coaches and athletes of all over the place are now thinking about Sheffield. And I'm, you know, again, respecting privacy. But but of course, I think this is fairly obvious. Most people thought this was probably going to happen. Jesus Oliveras was on the podcast saying, like, look, I think a lot of these USAPL guys are going to be looking at this like he straight up said, you guys put your eggs in the wrong basket. You know, for you guys missed an incredible moment at Sheffield. And you got to go the world championship route, travel, face these judges that, because, you know, he faced in South Africa all these calls overturned on him, et cetera. Comes to Sheffield, goes 9 for 9. And the jury that time actually saved him. And he's like, I made the proper adjustments, and they saved me, and here we are. And so he's like, you got to go this route. You got to get yourself tested with these international judges, and then you got to experience Sheffield. And a lot of people now, there's a groundswell of FOMO. What do you think's going to happen now? What would your advice be to people, first off? And what do you think is going to happen?
Oh man, I don't know if I'm qualified to give advice. I think if I were in their shoes, anyone who has not competed at Sheffield, I would try to separate yourself from all the noise, from all the hype around the event, from your lifters who gas you up all the time and tell you that your squats aren't high. Separate yourself from everyone and anything, okay? And really be with yourself and think, what do I think I'm capable of? Have that vision, define it, and then amplify it by 1,000,000, right? What does that look like for you? That's the direction you go. I know a lot of people who lift locally, who genuinely have fun, and they think to themselves, man, it'd be so cool to go to Arnold, or it'd be so cool to qualify for nationals. There's a lot of lifters who feel like that, who think like that. So when they amplify it, to them, it's like, oh man, it'd be great to win nationals, right? Then that's the direction they should go. The road to Sheffield is not meant to be easy. It is not. I don't want to put words in the mouths of my competitors. I don't know how easy it was for them. It is not easy for me, you know? And so I do have to work, and I do try. And a lot of times I feel like I'm not working hard enough, and I'm not enough. And I do have that kind of sense of despair sometimes. And part of that is kind of like the fuel that drives me. But I have a fear of being average. For me, all of this stuff pushes me and gives me no choice. I have no choice. What else would there be to do in this sport? So my personal bias is absolutely gun for Sheffield. Go beyond. Think about the Olympics. I mean, we may not be in the Olympics right now, but in my opinion, dude, I don't even see Worlds. I don't see Sheffield. If I see anything, I see myself as an Olympian, a first in my family to be a gold medal Olympian. That's what I see myself as. And these are all just stepping stones, you know? And so that's my vision for myself, or at least a piece of it. So of course, my personal bias is absolutely Sheffield route. I mean, dude, I don't think people understand how massive SBD is and how much they want to do for the sport. Like when you talk to Ben and Pete, bro, like you can feel it before a word comes out of their freaking mouth. They want this sport to grow, man. And like, take the equipment away, take the money away, take all this. They just, like, Ben, dude, it was literally just a dream. Like, and anybody who's on the inside knows that this was not like a crazy profit, you know, money-making machine. Sheffield was going to be it. No. That's not what this was, man. They put up a lot of money. They did what they had to do to create something that's never been done before. You should respect that. You should appreciate that. Dude, like, I'm telling you, the experience as an athlete, unfucking paralleled. I'm not going to lie to you. I hate world championship competitions. They suck. They're boring. They play elevator music. It's dull. It sucks. It sucks. Honestly, like, I'm not trying to shit on it. It's just what it is. It's fun in the sense that I get to see my friends and I get to compete with my friends and go head to head and see what we're made of. And that's awesome. But the Sheffield, man, is unmatched, unparalleled. They set the precedent. They showed the world what an IPF sanctioned meet could be. They showed the world what it could be. You know, they tested the waters, and that's why I'm so excited about it. And so, as you know, my personal opinion, absolutely 100% come over, like, compete, earn your way to Sheffield. You will not regret it. But that's my personal opinion. Of course, I believe that anybody who's listening is capable of doing that. You have to believe it too, you know? And so if you truly in your heart feel like, no, man, I'm comfortable competing in the States and I want to go to the Arnold and that's your thing, then do it. You know, that's fine. But 1000%, like, my bias is Sheffield is the way.
Worlds, man, the 76 kilo, 93 kilo class was one of the best sessions I've ever commentated on. It was phenomenal. That was crazy, dog. You could get it gets pretty intense. But also, I want to talk to you about the World Games is now going half raw. So it's good. There's going to be a raw division in the World Games. Now, the World Games, for anybody listening, I know you're huge into the Olympics. The World Games happens once every 4 years, just like the Olympics, multi-sport, just like the Olympics. And I mean, there's like a athlete compound, just like the Olympics. Have you seen footage of what, like, just to wrap your head around, Gavin? I know this is going to be huge for you. I want to show you, and anybody listening, I know there's a lot more listeners than our viewers, but if you're on Spotify, we have video on Spotify. These are also on YouTube, much smaller channel, but on Spotify, you could watch this. But Gavin, I want to show you what the World Games opening ceremony looks like. And then let's talk up a stitch what the World Games is going to be like.
Yep.
But one sec here.
Welcome to Birmingham.
You thought Sheffield had a lot of people. Who was that? Who was that guy?
I don't know. I have
Prince
no idea.
Charles? God damn it. Anyways.
No, dude, 100%. I mean, that looks crazy. I'm all for just pushing the limits and see how far we can go, you know, and Sheffield was phenomenal. And I knew it was going to be great. Like, I went into it knowing they were going to just blow the roof off the place. But yeah, that looks crazy. So when is that? What year is that?
Look at you. You're already, you're like, let me see if I'll be open. But so they had it, I think they had it last year. They had it, I have to double check. And it was only equipped. The next one's going to have Raw as well. But in terms of like the feather in the cap moments that you're looking for, I know the Olympics, and you're young enough, God knows when they're going to get in Olympics. Strength lasts forever. You could be 38. It gets in the Olympics. You could still make it. But can you imagine in terms of the feather in the cap? You want to write a book, you want to do public speaking, you could do all those things, dude. You got the passion like an artist to do it. Like you winning a gold medal on that stage and being involved in the parade of all the nations on that stage and your family and everyone watching, dude, I don't know if my God, man.
No, it would be incredible. It would be an honor. And that's absolutely. I mean, you know, again, for me, I think about just being the best and being a champion and, you know, again, pushing myself to see just how far I can go in any discipline, you know. For this, I mean, I was telling somebody the other day, dude, like I remember walking into the gym like 3, 4, 5 years ago and seeing like my post would never get reposted by King of the Lifts. And I would listen to the podcast and my name was, of course, never mentioned, and it shouldn't have been. I didn't earn that, you know? And sometimes today I still feel like I haven't earned that. But I remember being in those moments thinking like it's going to be my time. It's not a matter of if, only a matter of when. I have to keep working. I just have to keep getting better. But the vision was always straight to the top. And at that time, I was lifting the same weights as everybody else. There were people that had the same top sets as I did, you know, and I'm not saying I've gotten anywhere special. I'm not saying I'm super fucking strong and all this other, dude, brother. I'm nothing. Like, honestly, like I keep losing. So that should be, that should be evidence.
Third, I don't know.
But,
all right.
But point is, you look back and you're like, man, dude, you show yourself anything's possible. You have to set your mind to it. For this, man, absolutely. I mean, if it falls in line with what I believe is meant for me and what I believe, you know, is what the people would want, and you know, if it's something that moves me in the way, absolutely, 100%. And that's a conversation, of course, I'd have with my team and SBD. You know, I'd absolutely talk to them and see what their thoughts are on that stuff. Of course, as of right now, my goal is to get back to Sheffield, you know, absolutely. And of course, you know, I want to be able to compete at the World Championships. As much as I don't particularly enjoy the elevator music, it is a great atmosphere, and it's awesome to be able to
dude,
be
we
on.
have a ball.
Yeah, no, it is. But the thing is, dude, what makes Worlds fun isn't necessarily like the competition. It's so fast, dude. Like, it feels so fast. It's like a 2.5 to 3 hour meet, and it's like it just doesn't feel as I don't know. It doesn't feel as like as fun, you know. It's definitely very formal, very, very regal kind of, you know. And so that kind of, it feels cold, if that makes sense. It feels very cold. So like the competition itself isn't always like what drives me for that. Now it's different because I go in just purely wanting to push my body and lift. But the real fun of it is being able to, first of all, you're international, right? But second of all, you're seeing all of these people from all over the world and you're having tons of fun with them and stuff. And that's where the fun is. But yeah, so that's what's next on the horizon. But I definitely would be interested in competing at the World Games and representing my country on a bigger international stage.
What's going to be exciting is before, so I was around before the IPF went raw, and yeah, the IPF was only equipped. And I remember thinking, like, man, if you guys go raw, it's going to be like boom, a huge boom. And the IPF goes raw, and the sport literally like exponentially grew. And now the World Games, you've seen just in that clip how huge the World Games is. That's like a Super Bowl packed. And the amount of money involved in just what we just saw, the opening ceremonies with the nations all over, it's massive. If we go raw, previously they had equipped lifters going there. And most equipped lifters are from Eastern European nations, much more reserved. The biggest equipped lifting nations are, the Ukraine, etc. Just it's different. We go raw at the World Games on that stage. Now you bring in Gavin Adin, Jesus Oliveras, Taylor Atwood, you and Cayco battling, or whoever else comes over from the USAPL, a Bob Matthews. You bring in these fellas on that stage, and are you telling me we won't? You've seen what we did with Sheffield. Are you telling me we couldn't tell the rest of the world this is something that you want to get behind when everybody's watching? Yeah, man. I know what Raw did, and I know we can do at the World Games. This can be huge changing. Yeah. This is a huge deal that the World Games is about to go raw. And the doors that could open off this, I hope, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's see everyone's got to earn their way on. But whoever goes on, give them hell and drop the hammer like Gavin did at Sheffield, because we need them. Let's turn some heads. Let's have every single person who tuned in walking away like, I want to see more. Well, right after Sheffield, and I'm like, ready for Worlds, and I posted that famous the guns out pic. When you scroll down, it's all just those hearts emojis. You know how many I got? And it's off of the strength of Sheffield and how hyped they are. That's the impression we got to give when we go to the World Games. And it goes raw.
And we'll be prepared for it, man. We'll be ready for it. Like I said, we have showmen, we have stars. Like I was talking about this in plenty of table conversations over the weekend in the UK. Like you need stars. You do. The reality is you do. But the cool part is if you just believe in people, give them just a little bit of creative license, just a little bit of freedom, let them do their thing. Let us do our motherfucking thing. Like it's just you got to trust me, and if you let me fly off the handle just a little bit, you'll get a return. The difference is it's passion. It's authentic. You know what I mean? It's real. And it's not like we're all trying to be something we're not. That's not it. We're given the environment that we need to flourish. And that's, dude, man, like as an athlete, it's amazing. Like it feels amazing. And I have 100% faith that whoever comes over would vibe naturally. Like they come right in and it would feel like home. And I think in terms of like the experiences and stuff, dude, you can't get better as a power lifter. I mean, this is it. This is the time. It's blowing up. So either you're getting in or you're not, you know what I mean? And like, again, I do believe it's my responsibility, and it's also always been my life's dream, because I think Arnold has always kind of been a massive inspiration for me to create a legacy. And part of that is kind of spearheading the sport in a way, and I think I'm very far from that, but I'm trying, I'm definitely trying. And I've said this multiple times over the weekend. Like I really wanted people to walk away feeling like they got what they came for and more. The last thing I would have wanted is for somebody, because dude, if I wanted to max out, I can go in my backyard. I don't need to go halfway across the globe, and compete to see if I can squat 740 to depth. I don't need to do that. I did it because one, I want to see if I'm the best compared to everyone else. That's the only way, to a standard, right? To a real strength standard. Two, it's a show. I want to put on a show. I want you guys to see it and be like fired up, like feel like do what I want it to be. What the shows were for me growing up as a kid. When I would watch the Arnold videos and stuff and see him posing on stage and he looks sick, and Franco Colombo and Mike Metzer and all these guys, and they're just killing it, and you got the old audio tapes from Dorian Yates talking about going to absolute failure and, go to failure as if somebody's got a gun to your head. Like that's the stuff, man, that drove me, that inspired me. And so I want to give that, like we're next up. It's our responsibility. It's on our shoulders. So I want to give that to the younger guys, to the population who they maybe have never been exposed to that. I want them to see that and feel that and be a part of it. That way it gets them involved and they get inspired, So yeah, man, it's not just a performance, it's a show. So and I think we'll be ready for it. Bring me to the World Games, baby. Bring me to the World Games.
Listen, talking about like you talk briefly about like give people some creativity. I know there's a lot of other sports out there. I'm sure there's other like stars from these sports, but in all of the sports that are below the big, hockey, soccer, American football, basketball, baseball, MMA, boxing, in the sports below that, what are we fucking talking about? Like, okay, cricket in certain spots, but I mean, like the sports on the powerlifting level. Who has built what we built off of our stars and what those stars have independently done? I was sitting at a table with you, Penna, Taylor, Leah Bavois, Ben. This is all afterwards, by the way. So just to prove it was all water under the bridge, we're up for hours talking and looking around that table. Penna and them took over SBD France. And what Penna is talking about like, this is the views I get on YouTube and this is the income we get. And this is, his boy Antoine, who's Brutus he's got like 2 million TikTok followers. And you're listening to what our stars are doing, let alone Joy, whom we met at the Junior Worlds and now is
crushing it.
Shit, doggy.
So happy for her.
It is insane what she's doing, right? Every now and then I pop in her DMs like, Joy, what the fuck? And she's like, I don't know. It just is what it is. I'm like, well, keep pushing. Had her on the podcast and she's like, I mean, you met her in Turkey, but she could not be a nicer kid. I say kid, she's 18.
Nice,
yeah, she's genuine. And look at what we do. Look at what we do from powerlifting to guys like you, Taylor, Russell. We can do so, like King of List podcast just came up independently, man. Here's what you got to do, young man. Here's the pathway. We just do it. And other sports of our size and our niche don't have infrastructure like this made by just the people participating. They just rely on the governing bodies to give them infrastructure or sponsors to come in to do things. Even SBD is just fucking Benjamin Banks with a vision. And within like 10 years time, my man just blew it up. Like it's all, look what, and SBD is us. It's not Coke coming in or Pepsi. SBD is Benjamin Banks just taking this fucking thing and running with it and just built an empire out of it. Like he's one of us. He's not one of these big corporations that came in from the outside. Look what we've done. It's crazy. So in terms of like, when you talk about, all we need is just a little creative wiggle room and trust. There's no crowd I trust more than powerlifters saying, and it's funny to say, I know, but like anyone outside the sport wouldn't get it. We are so fucking lucky to have the people we have. Look at fucking Lane Norton. You met him at PA Dats, who you awesome quickly guy. Could be a friend. He's an amazing guy. But look at these guys, man. Omar, Eric. It's crazy what we do. It's crazy what we put together. No other niche sport has this. The depth of it, the depth of talent, of creativity, and doing what we're doing.
I want to say though too, it's not just us, it's the people, it's the fans, it's the people that support, the people that watch. And what's interesting about the powerlifting community, which I don't know if I could say for any of the others, is the people who watch are also the people who compete. The people who are fans of the sport, who show up to the Sheffield to watch it, also train, also compete. They're in it themselves. And so like the NFL, how many people in the stands are NFL athletes, right? So like, but yet for the IPF, you could have people from a local level all the way up to the world level who are all a part of the same federation. We all do the same thing. And so therefore we all have an appreciation for each other, and that's the cool part about this sport. So we would be nothing. I'm just some kid who lifts, who has some passion, who posts some content. And I try and be as authentic as possible. I just try and be me, and I have purpose behind why I do what I do, but it would all be meaningless if it fell on deaf ears, if people didn't give a shit, and people do, and so the credit and the honor goes to them. Like Sheffield would be nothing if there were no spectators. We have over 230,000 views on YouTube alone.
It's
We
so
would, I mean, dude, it's the people, man. It's the people. So yeah, 100%. I think
when I
you know,
say
the
we, I
athletes,
mean
but
the
also the people.
community as a whole, though.
Yeah.
Like, I was listing people, but I don't mean just those people. I mean, literally, like, as a community as a whole, powerlifting is, I know, like, I'm in it, so I'm biased, obviously, but powerlifting as a whole, as a community, there's something different, man. There's
Oh,
other,
yeah.
like I was talking to people. I'm like, do you think, like, find a sport in the Olympics that would be equivalent size? Do you think fucking water polo has a community like powerlifting? What's another sport? Name a sport that's powerlifting ish
Yeah.
size.
But that's also on the rise the way powerlifting is, bro.
There is no other sport like us with a
Yeah.
community like ours. There just isn't.
Well,
Stop.
the only thing I can think of that isn't, obviously it's not in the Olympics, is like bodybuilding, like but again, it's another lifting style sport.
Right.
It's extremely accessible.
CrossFit.
Yeah, CrossFit. But yeah, but that's it. Like it's yeah, I completely agree.
It's when it comes to our community, that's why when we talk big about what the sport might be in like 5, 10, 20 years, I am more optimistic just because I see how different this is. You could see the groundswell. It's like bound to happen. Somebody's going to emerge amongst us, like another Benjamin Banks style dude who's just going to go even further. People are emerging from this community from everywhere. Somebody's going to emerge. And I'm going to fucking latch onto their back and ride their coattails like you ain't never seen, Playboy. All right. I don't know where he's coming from or she's coming from, but
we gonna find them.
Maybe it's Joy. Okay, she's 18.
It might be, dude.
By the time Joy's 30, I got to keep in contact with that young lady.
Yeah,
but
dude, she's crushing it, man. I'm super stoked for her. That's awesome,
dude. She gained like 1 million followers in the fall.
Forget about TikTok. Forget about TikTok is what it is. Instagram, she's at like 640,000 right now, bro.
No, she's got to be more. Hold on, let me see
on Instagram.
Let me see.
But might be at 660.
Hang on. Crazy. I think you're undercutting. And see Joy, see how he's going to do you, and watch how I'm going to stick up for you.
For those of you guys who are listening,
okay, she's 600.
What is it? Joy Sistina. That's her at.
It's
Joy's fitness. Yeah.
Underscore.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, she's at 600,000.
Okay, so I gassed her up. Yo, get fuck out of here, bro.
You gassed her up.
I said 640 at first.
But it's crazy.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's awesome. I mean, that's what the sport needs, though. Like, that's what people got to understand. And I think SBD does a good job of valuing that. People got to understand that, like, to fill the stands, to fill the seats, to get the eyeballs on YouTube watching the live stream, you need us. You do. You need us. We are the marketing. We are the branding. We are the reason. And it's just, I get it. There are new athletes every gen. Tomorrow somebody come out of the wood. I get it, but they ain't me and they ain't Joy. It's what it is. We are building something, and it goes far beyond just us. You know what I mean? So, like, again, man, I can't stress it enough. Like, it's the fans, and it's what we're doing as a community, but more so as athletes to push the growth of the sport, bro. I think if we all can move together like a train, if we can all just chug along together, man, dude, we'll be unstoppable. I think the sport will absolutely be unstoppable.
What I do like is that Sheffield was a showcase of like the Road to Sheffield series they did, and it was like Gavin versus is individuals versus individuals.
Yeah,
and that's why when people were taking to the platform and it showed your videos and like Delaney's doing his damn thing and it's like only Delaney could do, and it showed some personality there. And who knows, man, maybe by year 3, 4, whatever, you could do the next slit and
yeah.
You come on the stage, same braided hair, but now you got blood.
I know. Dude, I was thinking that. I was like, how am I gonna top what I did at Sheffield?
Dude, so it's the war paint, it's the blood on the chest.
I know.
It's everything, man. It's you come in, you're walking in there, and in your belt, they're like, does he have a small knife tucked into his?
Is that an axe?
Is that an axe tucked into his belt? And it's like, and you're like, that pass equipment check. I just want that noted. That's an Alico axe. It's a Alico branded blade.
Yeah, but, we'll think of something. I already got some ideas, but it's cool, man. It's good because I think it's exciting. We got people talking, and that's what we need. That is what we need. We need people talking. We need to give people stories. It's part of the brand, and that's again, it's just what makes things more fun. Like it just makes things more fun, you know? And so I hope people are enjoying it, man, because we are trying. And I know SPD worked their asses off, obviously invested tons of money to make it happen. But those videos, I mean, I don't think people realize like they're international, right? Like you've got like in the US, we take it for granted. Oh, we need a videographer, we need a photographer. Okay, like Sierra, she works with I think her Instagram is Calvary. She's phenomenal. She works with me, Taylor.
She does my
Delaney.
reels now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude, she's
Some.
awesome, man, right? She's local. So she's like an hour away. Bro, you're talking about like New Zealand or Japan. You first got to find somebody, communicate, you know, over to them, get them to go over, film. It's a process, man. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And, you know, I know maybe some people, you know, there will always be people to throw stones, but just like how I say when it comes to like athletes and giving them the benefit of the doubt on the platform when it comes to their attempts, just as the rule book says, I think it's important that referees, judges, everybody, we all have an appreciation for what each person is doing. The only way you can really get that is if you kind of try to experience it yourself a little bit. But the cheat way to do it is just take a second, think about it in your head, close your damn eyes, think about it in your head. Okay, what would it feel like to be in their shoes? How hard is it to do that? And would I be willing to do that myself? You know, and when you do that, you kind of have this sense of gratitude and appreciation for every single person involved and every moving piece that has to align. And that's why I think Sheffield was so amazing, you know, and I'm so excited for what's to come because I know how much went into this and how much love and passion was poured into this, you know, by everybody involved.
Dude, I mean, I know, you know, but like talking to guys like we mentioned Pete Ben, but like even Justin, and he went like 3 days without sleeping. He worked. Yeah. I'm like, what are you doing tonight? And he's like, oh, I'm like, us filming that like 3-minute intro took forever, by the way, because we filmed like we're filming in several different locations for whatever. And just like in a show or a movie, when it takes like 3 hours to get 3 minutes, it really is that like, that's where they're at as well. And then afterwards, when we're finally done, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I have like, he would go to sleep at like 6 a.m, wake up at like 8, turn it around and keep it pushing. Like it's insane what guys like that do. That's why, like, yeah, like for sure, show appreciation with, you know, I know you do, but like for anyone listening, it takes a crazy amount of work by everybody. Do you want to play the name game, sir?
Of course we could do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it.
We just got to be a little careful.
But hey, not you say
don't get me in trouble now. You know
depends where your mood's at.
It really does. You know, it's funny.
It really does.
What's today? Okay. Friday. I had SPD today. Oh man, I don't know. My body's a little beat up.
Hopefully
you get a raw form. I don't know.
The thing is, like, hopefully you're a little tired, but you had some passion earlier.
Yeah,
we both did, dude. But let's not get ourselves in trouble. Okay. We'll start it off an obvious one. Jonathan Cayco.
Respect. Absolutely. Just respect. Lots of respect for him, for his work, and for everything that he gives to the sport, and for his competition, of course, because it pushes me to be better.
Jesus Oliveras.
Love, man. I love Jesus. I love his brothers. They treated me like family. And, you know, he may not know this, but I mean, I really do admire, I don't put him on a pedestal. I admire him for who he is and what he's been doing, not just for the sport, but for himself, but also as a man. I know he's a man of faith as well. And I do look to him a lot for, you know, for inspiration, but also almost like, just as like a brother, kind of almost like a friend, you know, like a really close friend that, you know, you use to kind of hold yourself accountable and keep yourself to a specific standard. You know, he's that for me in some ways, from afar sometimes too, but you know, he really is. So I have a lot of love for Jesus. He's also the strongest motherfucker in the world. So
legit of all time. Taylor Atwood.
Oh, my boy. I'm going to say Captain America because that's like the first thing that comes to mind. But he's a leader, man. He's a leader. I think that's the best way to describe him. I think people don't quite understand what goes into creating what he's created. I mean, you know, he's a little older. He works a full-time big boy job. You know, he's got a lot of responsibility. He has a child, a wife. He's got a family, man. You know, he's trying to do the content stuff. He's got sponsors. He's got all this stuff. And yet still, you know, manages to be a top dog. And so I think he composes himself really well. I think he's a leader, man. He's a leader.
Brendan Petrie.
Oh, man. I want to say love as well. I just don't want to like keep using the same words. It's hard not to. I have a lot of love for Brandon. I've only had a few conversations with him, honestly. But I have a lot of respect for people who stand their ground, but with good intention, if that makes sense, who can own their mistakes, who can, and I'm not saying he's made mistakes, but can own who they are for everything, the flaws, the good stuff, the bad stuff, everything. And that inspires me in a lot of ways. Again, similar to Jesus, he's a man of faith, and that's really inspiring for me. But he's honestly the man, like when I see him, I just see kind of like a positive light, and I really am rooting for him. He's obviously extremely, extremely strong. But I think this is the theme here that people probably are noticing is I don't think really strength has anything to do with the barbell. At some point, all of it's just numbers. It's so much more than that. It's the character of the person who's lifting. Not the weight that they're lifting. And so, from what I've seen so far and like all my experiences with Brandon, he's somebody who has really, really strong character. And I cannot wait to see what he does. I think he's competing again in like 9 weeks. I'm very excited to see his comeback. We can rise, and I know that that's how he's thinking, and that's how he feels, and I believe in him. So I want the best for him, and yeah, man, I have a lot of love and respect for him, and he's definitely given me some love as well, and I really appreciate that because I think what's cool about being at the level that we're at here is that like one of my greatest memories in powerlifting or just in lifting in general was when the first time Ashton Ruska ever reached out to me was in the DMs, and it was after the Raw Nats experience, and I might have had the opportunity to compete at Worlds, which obviously we ended up having that opportunity. And long story short, he basically was like, "Look, man, I'm pretty impressed with who you are. I think you have what it takes to go to get to the top. I hope that you seize the opportunity when it comes," essentially is what he said. I have the screenshots for all that stuff. And at the time, and still to this day, really, he's like one of the only lifters who I truly just have so much, like he genuinely inspires me so much. And I have so much love and respect for him that meant the world to get that from him. And so it's kind of like that when Brandon and I have conversations, it kind of feels like that. It's almost like an acknowledgement of your own, and it means something because I know how hard we all work to be here. Yeah, so I know it's a long-winded answer, but I have a lot of love and respect for Brandon.
Russell or he?
Again, I have a lot of respect for what he's doing. I know that there's been like a lot of drama recently and stuff. I try to stay in my lane. I've tried to kind of evolve as a young man. I stay in my lane, man, and I really try and focus all my energy on what I'm working on and what I'm trying to build. And as I've said before, I am filled with tons of fucking flaws. And so who am I to judge? I really don't know what's going on, and I don't know much about the drama and stuff, but I think people forget what he's built. He has absolutely spearheaded the culture in terms of powerlifting, raw powerlifting, and has blew up the sport. Like, I think if you were to say that he hasn't played a hand in that, I think you'd just be blind and deaf. Like the reality is he's absolutely played a role in growing the sport, which is a positive. That's a plus, right? Whether you like him or you don't, he's grown the sport. He's pumped more money into the sport. I mean, he owns a very successful business, GBT. And so, as far as I'm concerned, in a way, he's providing something, he's making a positive impact on people who buy, anybody who buys that stuff, they're doing it for a reason, So, so I think you have to kind of respect, almost like you have to respect it, like, period. I personally, I like him a lot. Like, he's always been very, very nice with me. Obviously, I think people hate to admit it, but he is one of the best in the world. Like he is, until somebody dethrones him. Like, this is what the thing, man, everybody keeps talking all this freaking shit, man. Do something about it. Yeah, you're tired of him being the best? Then go fucking do something about it. Like, that's what I'm here to do. I hope he comes to the IPF. I hope he does what he's got to do in the 83s. Maybe he'll come up to 93. Maybe I'll go down to 83. Taylor will come up to 83. We can all hash it out. I think that'd be awesome. That'd be amazing. But I can't complain about, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it bothers me that people, because I know a lot of people throw shade at everyone in the sport who seems to be doing like better, I don't think we're all perfect enough to judge each other to that degree, and more importantly, I think it is fair to say, to give credit where credit's due, he is one of the best in the world at what he does. He's probably arguably one of the most successful powerlifters financially. And if we're talking about social media value, definitely social media value as well, out of all of the powerlifters, right? Especially on the tested side. So again, I think it's only fair to respect that. And I think, yeah, like I said, I have a lot of respect and I've learned a lot from him over the years, but I have a lot of respect for what he's building and what he has built.
Joey Flex.
And I hope to compete against him again one day. Who would you say, Joey Flex?
Joey Flex.
Similar situation. I mean, I really don't, I don't have anything negative to say. I like I said, I've kind of stayed out of a lot of the drama and stuff. Joey Flex, because a lot of people don't know this, Joey Flex was my very first powerlifting coach. And I had stopped working with Joey after my second meet. And that's when I had started working with Alex. And this, I think, was probably back in 2019 or 2020, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, I've had a previous relationship with Joey to that degree, but, I really don't know him that well. And, I've competed against him multiple times. Yeah, man, I don't, like I said, I don't really have anything negative or positive to say. I think similar to Russ, I think it'd be kind of asinine to deny the impact he's had on the sport. Whether you think it's net positive or net negative, there has been an impact. And I think he has helped grow the sport, and I definitely would not want to take that away from him. And I do, I don't know too much about like the business side of how he scales and how he does things, but my close friends, Jesus, Isaac, Mikey, these are guys who are coaches under Flex. And, to me, that's special. He's given them to some degree an opportunity to feed their family, and that's something, whether or not we could sit here and argue whether or not they'd be able to do that on their own anyway, it's still, the reality is they are Flex coaches. And so because of that, you have to, I respect that, I do respect, I just respect the business and I respect that stuff. But yeah, nothing, neither negative or positive. I think, we shared some conversations over in England, and I look forward to competing against his athletes again.
Ben Escrow.
I mean, he's tall, he's taller than me. It's tough for me, obviously, because, I'm still not sure how I feel about things. I think, unfortunately, I have heard some things after the fact of, some people telling me about some things that have been said behind closed doors, not necessarily from Ben, but just from TSG as a whole about me and stuff. And, it's unfortunate. It is what it is. I'm very grateful. Here's what I'll say. I'm very grateful for Ben. He was my coach at one point, and I think he did really care about me as an athlete when I was his athlete. And I think if TSG didn't care about me as an athlete, they wouldn't have let me go. They would have just like kind of let me hold on and, and just keep me injured forever kind of thing. But they did care about me. They wanted to see me grow, at least probably in those moments. And, and that's why they probably let me go, because they knew that we just weren't going to be the right fit, and I appreciate that. And I respect that. And I'm grateful for that. So yeah, I learned a lot from Ben. And I will say this, I fucking love Ben's pre-workout from Elemental Formulations. Phenomenal supplement. I really do like it. So yeah, like
what's your promo code, by the way?
Free promo, bro. I don't have a fucking code, dog.
Well, that's actually pretty
respectfully. I don't think he can afford me, but respectfully, I don't think he can afford me. But regardless, I think it's a phenomenal product. I'm sorry, Ben, I had to throw that in there, but no, I think it's a phenomenal product. I use it all the time. I use it at Worlds. I just ordered like 2 more tubs. So I think he's doing a great job with that. And obviously he's a great coach because he coaches some great athletes. And a lot of people have a lot of respect for him. He does crazy game day handling. I think he's handling lane again. So look, he's established, man. He's smart. He's established. He's a great coach. He was nothing but nice to me in person, like really genuinely, like he was the bigger man in some of those situations where I wanted nothing to do with him. And he knew that, and he understood that, and he didn't take that personally. We talked it through, and I have to respect that, so I am very grateful for that. And at least in person, face to face, we've had some very good conversations. And I, like I said, I although he wants to protest my lifts, you know what? It's all right. It's fine. Now I know what to expect. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I'll say this. I talked to Ben about you, just me and him, and he was 100% nothing negative, and was like, only on sports, you guys do not see eye to eye on that. But in terms of like you, he does not have anything personal against you. And he 100% was like, I want to talk to Gavin later. And he ended up talking to you later that night again in the lobby. That was afterwards. I'd already talked to him. Whatever you alluded to earlier about like discussion behind, take it with a grain of salt, because
No, yeah, absolutely.
some
Yeah.
people, I also even talk to, like, some people, if someone says something like, I don't like that Gavin did this or did that, they might be echoing what you already said about your own actions, but doesn't mean their wholesale take on you is offensive towards Gavin. They might be like, no, I like Gavin. I wanted to be good with him. We had a hot moment. It might be literally someone repeating something they said in regards to a hot moment, but I could tell you straight up, and I know you like, I'm not going to bullshit you. He wasn't, he was talking to me about it, and he was not like on a personal level. He was full on, you guys don't agree on sporting level. And that's just, you got to agree to disagree. But in terms of you, he was like, yes, he could fucking sit down. We all at the dinner table, have dinner, drinks, the whole nine. And you yourself were like, later on, like, yeah, I don't give a fuck if we're all going to the same place. We're all going to
No,
the same place.
yeah,
It's
100%.
not that, just so you know. Anyways, that was my
No,
so
yeah, yeah. And I've, dude, like I said, man, it's you've teeter on this line, obviously, but like the reality is, man, I'm sure there have been plenty of times when I've said something that either I shouldn't have, or that might have been, could have been interpreted as disrespectful, or maybe just straight up was disrespectful. And so, and I, like I said, I recognize that, man. And like, again, I'm still kind of working through, what I believe truly happened, at Worlds. Again, man, it's just because it's so tough to accept that, it was overturned justly. Of course, no athlete will want to accept that. But I just, again, because of the South Africa experience, and I knew that squat was cut high, like I felt that, but this one, I felt that it wasn't, it just, again, because of all that stuff, it's just so hard to accept that. But that's my own problem. I don't, like I said, I don't direct that at Ben or Taylor or Jason or TSG as a whole. It doesn't matter. And again, at the end of the day, it's my responsibility to be undeniable. Ben absolutely did. And like, dude, like I was even in the drug testing. Like I saw Ben, he was sitting with Leah, and he was like, I need to talk to you. He was like, yeah, I'm going to take this drug test and then we can fucking talk. Like I was still pissed,
Yeah.
and
but at least he's a
yeah.
man about it. I love that he's a man
absolutely.
about it. And
Yeah,
will talk
absolutely.
to you and actually genuinely wants to talk to you.
Both of them did. Yeah. Jason and Ben, both of them. Yeah, absolutely, man. And like, and I know I can be hard to deal with, especially like if in those moments when, yeah, like 100%. And he was totally understanding of like where I was coming from in terms of how I felt that it was personal, like how I felt that it would be disrespectful to me, and how this was more than just like you trying to win or whatever. Like and I was voicing that, but I also made sure he understood too, the idea that like it's, I don't mean it personally. Like, I know it sounds really weird to say, but like, I'm not attacking Ben Esgro. I'm attacking the behavior in that moment of what that was, it could have been anybody, it just happened to be Ben, and it would have been anybody else. Flex team would have protested it. I'm sure, any of them would have protested it, so it's not really Ben. It's what the action itself was that I was frustrated with and felt disrespected by and whatever. But yeah, man, but he is definitely taller than me. Every time I was talking, I kind of had to bend my fucking neck.
Dude, he's a giant in powerlifting, and it should be outlawed. If you're over 6 feet, you're not in the warm-up room. It's not here. It's not allowed. And
he does have nice shoes, though.
He's got nice shoes.
Nice shoes, yeah.
I love all you guys. That's why I'm fucking like, I hope everybody gets along, but everyone does. Next one, Matt Gary.
Oh, legend. I think he's a legend of the sport. Him and his wife are both amazing people. So sweet. Very supportive, and and I've learned so much from him. I bought his ebook. I've learned so much from him, and he genuinely just loves the sport. He just loves freaking powerlifting, man. He's not in it for anything other than that, and like that's so cool to see. It's so cool to be a part of, and I have so much respect for him and admiration for him, and it's just awesome. Like his wife Susie, she had offer before, like way before anything like really came out, before I was able to ask Alex to handle me. She had asked, if I needed a handler, she would be there, kind of thing, which is just sweet. It's very nice of her to do that. So yeah, man, they're the dynamic duo. They're very, very, they're just a powerful force in powerlifting. I'm grateful to have them in my life.
Yeah, you want to talk about, look at game day handling, ruthless too. They will eat your food. And they are a whole nother level of handling. But yeah. How about, another Ben Benjamin Banks.
Oh my gosh, dude, what a G. Absolute unit, that guy. I just love being around him because like he's kind of quiet,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but sometimes he'll give you like he'll laugh and like he'll give you these hints of like, yeah, you don't sound completely stupid, so you can keep going kind of thing. And it's awesome. Like dude, man, I think Ben is such a great guy. And like I was telling I don't know him that well, obviously. I've only been lucky enough to have a couple conversations with him. But he's the one thing that I will say that I just love about him. He's extremely receptive, like extremely receptive to everyone around him. Like, dude, I have a million ideas every second, you know, and I talk out of my ass all the time. And who am I, you know? And yet he was still receptive to me, you know, which I really do appreciate. Like, it felt like he was kind of like one of us, so to speak. And I really do appreciate that because I think it, you know, makes me feel valued, but it also kind of teaches me that you can be in this position. You can be responsible for so many people and for the success of so many things and still be grounded, you know, and still be a part of the family. Like, you can do that. And that was something that I hadn't seen, you know, because I'm used to the cutthroat industry of brand deals and how everything works kind of behind closed doors and all that stuff. That's what I'm used to. And you know, you'll kind of always have to like read the contract, look at the four walls of the and make sure your ass is cut, you know, all that stuff. With Ben, it doesn't feel like that. And I really appreciate that, you know, and I also really love, first of all, from a business perspective, you know, I would love the opportunity to sit with him even for just 20 minutes and just interview him, just ask him questions about how he's done what he's doing. But you have to respect it, you know, what he's been able to do for the sport, what he's been able to do with SBD, what he's been able to do with all of us athletes as a result. We would not have had this opportunity had it been for SBD, you know? And so, yeah, man, I have a lot of respect, love, and appreciation for everything he's doing. And like I said, I think he's extremely receptive, and he doesn't have to be, you know, he does not have to be as nice as he is. And yet he is, you know, and that's like, it's just so cool, man. It really is cool to have, at least in those moments, have access to somebody like that. You know, it's really cool.
It's yeah. There's moments where in terms of like guidance or advice or whatever, it's he's a hell of a hand to have if you're sitting at that table. And yeah, it's pretty cool when you like stay up. Like one of the nights we were at that table, just stayed up pretty flipping late and just shooting the shit, talking about powerlifting or talking about whatever, just joking around and the whole time. And yeah, you were tossing out ideas and he will hang out. He's one of us though. He is legitimately one of us who had a vision and made it happen. And it is just like, how did you do this? That's why when he's at the table, it's like, how did you do this? But you do get the impression he is just like us.
Yeah.
He just, I don't know.
No,
It's interesting when you get close to somebody like that, huh?
Yeah.
Where it's like, how did you make this happen? What happened? How crazy is this? Last one, Delaney Wallace.
Oh my gosh, come on. man's a fucking ballerina at this point, bro. The guy's dancing every 5 seconds. Bro.
I had to give you a softball one down the middle. You and Delaney are like an amazing. You guys need a reality TV series,
dude. It's funny because we're so different, yet we're so similar in so many ways. Like, we both think like the same way, but like our approaches are just different. Like, I'm in the back, like Taylor's like vibing, like you could tell he's just vibing. I'm in the back, like either I'm just like super chill, like laughing with people and shit, or if I'm getting ready, I'm like getting amped up, you know. Delaney's just fucking dancing the entire time. And I'm like he'll be like, bro, I literally was thinking, I was like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? This dude was just like freaking getting into it in the warm-up room, and it's like third attempt deadlifts are coming up. And I'm like, bro, man, you got to get serious, dog. But it's him. It's just what he does. He felt loose. He felt good. And yeah, he's my boy, man. I love him, man. I really do. Like, there are very few people in your life who genuinely want the best for you, who genuinely root for you, who aren't going to talk about you, you know, when you aren't there. And like, and that's him, man. He's one of those people. Like, he genuinely just is. Him and Taylor, you know, I really appreciate his friendship. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. I think he's just getting started. I think, you know, he's gone through the trenches to earn his place as an 83 in this sport. And I think you and I both know that, you know. And it's a tough act to follow or compete with when you have someone's legacy like Russ, you know, like it is tough. Hacking Russ, really, right? So, you know, and Delaney I don't see anybody else really taking that shot. I don't, You know, and I want more people to do that, but legitimate shots, I haven't seen it yet. And so you have to respect it. You have to fucking respect it. And yeah, man, he's one of those guys that like you can count on, you know what I mean? You can really count on. He's my boy. Yeah, dude, he's funny. He's so funny. He will say some things, man, and you're like, dude, where the fuck? Like he'll just, yeah, he's funny. I hope he's one of those characters that like just kind of lights up a room, and I hope everyone gets a chance to meet him because he's great, man. And I do think he deserves what's coming to him. He's the world's strongest accountant. So
You're damn right he is. And to your point, like, yeah, there's a lot of good 83s, but he had Russell Orh's record like 2 inches
in
away.
the palm of his hands, dude.
2 inches away, dog. Past his
He went for
knees,
it.
up to his thighs.
Yeah.
And it was like, holy fuck, he might actually. Like, who would have thought? Like, that's how close he came to Russell. To like,
Yeah.
if Russell's not in his A game, there it is. He's pulling for. If
Oh,
Russell
yeah.
was there that day, he would have needed to have been as strong as he ever was in his life to have beaten Delaney. And Delaney still would have been 2 inches away. Like Russell would have been in the back watching it out on the monitors. Like, holy fuck! And we
Do you
would have all
know-
been talking about it.
Do you know what lift? How much weight was that third pull? What was that?
I mean, I could look at. I'll pull it up right now.
Because
real
I know
quick.
that he pulled 750 in training, and it was like an RP 9. You know, like he had an extra rep almost. It looked like with that.
It was three. Okay, no, wait, second. 330 was a second. He missed 337.5.
Okay.
So it's
That's
slightly
just under
less.
7. Yeah. So like
Just under.
it should have been there for sure. I wonder what happened. I know he was upset after for sure, obviously, but similar to like my squat, look, you have to. This is textbook. This is day one stuff. If you're trying to be great, you have to learn to compartmentalize. You have to learn to let go. You just do. Use certain things as fuel, absolutely, but you have to learn to detach yourself so you can keep moving forward. The best analogy I can give is burning off dead wood. You have to. You have to burn off pieces of yourself, old pieces of yourself, if you want to be grown anew. Like it's just what it takes. You know, if you want to rise up, you have to fall to ashes at some point. And that's man, it's tough and it sucks. It feels like you get punched in the mouth, but then you're better for it. You're stronger for it. You learn from it. You keep fucking going. And it creates a great story. It creates a phenomenal story. I mean, Delaney had that shit in his fucking hands. Everybody was talking. Everybody was saying, oh, he doesn't deserve it. He's not this. He's not a, if Russ was there to, okay, you sure? Because he fucking did it.
Yeah.
And not only did he missed that third, but he still ended up with a PR total, 835.
Yeah.
Which,
Well,
what was the Carpino score that people had to hit at Nationals?
825.5.
Okay,
He's
so
well beyond that. Yeah.
come on, dog. Like, you see what I'm saying? So look, he's my boy. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm gassing him up a little bit, but like anybody who's saying, he doesn't deserve to, because I know what's going around. We both know what's going around. It goes in one ear and out the fucking other. It's fueling him because I'm telling you, man, he's earning his place, man. He's earning his place among the greats. And listen, like as far as I'm concerned, he's more of a legitimate, true world champion than I am. I just have a junior world title. He's got an open world title, So yeah, I mean, what more can I really say, in terms of his performance? But I think I think the best is yet to come, and I know he's hungry. So,
In terms of, you had said something about Delaney. Here's like, in terms of genuine people, Delaney is like, it would kill me if I heard Delaney said something negative about me, because he would never. And if he said it, it was probably true. Delaney is such a good person. It would kill him to say something negative about one of his friends, but like, he's such a genuine good person. I would automatically assume his heart was in the right place. I'm not saying he's infallible, but I'm just saying when you get close to him, like he just isn't the guy who, he will always try to go out of his way to do the right by you. And like, if someone's like talking shit, I'm not talking about sports, like sports, whatever. You go at Delaney's numbers, he goes at yours. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, character wise, if someone actually was close to Delaney and was like, guy's a dick, or that guy, whatever, I'd be like, there's something fucking wrong with you. You don't know Delaney, or I could never be silent in that situation.
No, dude, I literally have been there physically, can think of a moment when I was sitting at the table and Taylor was not there. And like, somebody tried to speak on something, and Delaney wasn't like, don't talk about my boy, but he was 1000%. we were just, I could feel it. He was in a position where he was like, no, man, like, I don't think you're seeing that the right way. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I get what you're saying, you know, but I don't think that's, you know, that's the right, that's not, you know, like, and he was defending Taylor. Like, that's what it was, you know? And so, and I saw that, like, I was just, I mean, it was like fucking 4 or 5 in the morning. And I'm like half dead, but I heard it, you know? And I'm like, yeah, man, like it's, I'm telling you, I can attest to it 1000%. You know, I don't know about obviously other people's experiences, but as far as I'm concerned, like he's 100%, like when you're his boy, and it means something.
And he's such a nice guy though. Like he's always a positive dude. Like he's
Yeah.
just you know, certain people you have around you have them around you and they're going to affect your mood and either which way. They can bring you down because they're always talking shit. There's always something negative. There's always some drama that they're into and they want to bring it up and get spicy or whatever the shit. And you're like, fuck, this is kind of wearing on me the more I hang around you. Like I actually need a little bit of space around from certain people because afterwards it drains you a little bit, man. You feel like you leave the conversation and you're thinking about that kind of shit. You're like, damn it, they kind of like that. I don't. When I leave the conversation, I'm still thinking about some of this bullshit. When you hang around Delaney, it's like hanging around. It's like watching those puppy videos on Instagram, doggy.
Yeah.
I leave like it's crazy. He is the dude salsaing in the back and whatever. I don't give a fuck if it's cheesy. It's amazing, man. It makes you feel good just hanging around. And his parents are like the nicest people. He's talking about his group chat with his family, and I'm like, fuck, it's probably the most wholesome group chat you ever heard in your life, man.
Yeah, I got to meet his sister, but I've met his mom before, and they're
dude,
just so
his
sweet,
parents,
so
they would see me in South Africa at like the all-you-can-eat buffet at lunch and be like, Ryan, and call, hey, how you do? How was that safari, young man? And talk to me. I'm like, these guys are out of a TV show. They're so nice.
Yeah.
And your dad, dude. I've met your dad a couple times now. First off, I fucking really like your dad. He's like seriously, he's a funny dude. And I see where you get like some of your humor. And remember when we were in Sheffield, I was talking to your dad. I don't know, I can't remember what he said, but I'm like, holy shit, I feel like I'm talking to like an older Gavin. It's like looking at Gavin in the future. And he looks like you, has the mannerisms of you, and started talking just like you do. And I was like, holy shit. Now I know where Gavin gets it from, man. And you telling me about your dad, or not you telling me, sorry, me seeing the Road to Sheffield story about your parents and what they made out of themselves. Now I know why the inner belief thing, your dad made something out of himself. Like he is like a successful man who's like a funny, confident. He was walking to a powerlifting competition on the other side of the world. And like, he is a confident dude. You can just tell by the way he carries himself. You know what I mean? Like he's, your sister's shy. She's shy. But your dad and you, I can see where you get it from, man. He's a good dude.
I'm lucky, man. I'm blessed. Like I'm kind of balanced out, you know, between my mom and my dad, and I'm, man, dude, like I can't stress it enough. I'm so fucking grateful, so blessed. Like there are people who forget about, you know, maybe even having both parents in the picture, having both parents who unconditionally love them and guide them in life, you know. And I wouldn't be able to. I take pride in not being self-made. You know, it's just straight up. Like I am the product of people like you contributing into my life, into who I've become and who I'm becoming. You know, it's just what it is, man. It takes a village, and like, yeah, man. I mean, dude, it's unreal. Like and that's always inspired me. And I'm lucky because when I was born, we were on welfare, but my dad was still in medical school. My mom was working like 2 jobs, and we were in the Bronx, and we didn't move out of the Bronx until high school. And we moved out of the Bronx so I could play football at Don Bosco Prep. And that was like pretty much the only reason why like we really moved. And everything that my parents have done has been for their children, like genuinely. Like I cannot think of a time when either of them sacrificed something about us or for us that was in the best interest of us for themselves. Genuinely cannot think of a time. And yeah, man, and there's so much that I've learned from both. Like my dad, like literally his mindset has always been, let's say you were going to take a test, and he would say, all right, well, how well do you want to do? And I'd say, I don't know, you know, I'm going to aim for like a 90, you know, like an A minus. Be like, all right, I mean, that's good. So if you're going to go for a 90, why not just go for 95? You're only 5% away. I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right. And be like, well, let me tell you something. If you're going to go for 95, you might as well just go for 97.5. And if you're going to go for 97.5, why not just go for 100? Like, it's right there. And that was like, that was always kind of like the mindset, you know? And so it was just always be the best, just be your best, you know, give everything you have, be your best. And that also comes from his dad, who grew up in the Great Depression, emigrated from Poland when he was a kid, single mother who didn't speak a lick of English, owned a business in the Great Depression to feed 9 children by herself. And my grandfather, he has a quote on his fridge that he has fucking ingrained in me. Good things may come to those who wait, but only the things left by those who hustle. That's it.
Shit.
And that is, dude, when I tell you, like, that is the fucking bedrock of who I like. That's where it all comes from, man.
This burn your ships is dude. This is why you are who you are. Is your granddad still around?
Yeah. He's 95, I want to say.
Holy shit, man. Vikings last that long? He's got those cornrows, doesn't he? Those Viking cornrows.
Bro, he walks around with like a grill and everything. He's like, you don't fuck with me.
Man.
No, yeah. Every conversation is like super motivational with him. And it's not coming from a place of like, you can do anything, blah, blah, blah. He genuinely comes from this place of like, listen, it will be fucking hard. It will be hard, period. But believe me when I tell you, you were born for it. There will be competition. Yes, absolutely. But you are ready for it. You are born for it. You're meant for it, period. Like it's just, there is no, it's like it almost like there's no such thing as not possible, for him. And that's kind of like how, that's 100%, been ingrained in me. And I'm very grateful for that, but yeah, that's where it comes from. So
it's interesting the more you get to know somebody and the more you start peeling back the layers. And then some people like, this goes back to the conversation I had when I was trying to explain to people who you are, and they're like, well, why doesn't he do this or that or whatever? And it's like, that's not Gavin. And you were literally raised generationally like this. Like, this is literally not how your whole family's been brought up. And it's just not the belief in the working of the system you guys are operating on. Yeah. And to an extent, you don't want to fuck with too much of that kind of stuff.
No.
You kind of just want to be like, you got to let this guy go. You got to let that guy go.
Yeah. I mean, and that's dude, that's the thing, not to cut you. Like, my mom holds me accountable character wise, a lot. She is my foundation in a lot of ways, and my mirror in a way, because of course my own vision could kind of be really cloudy, and for better or for worse, in either direction, either too much positive or too much negative. And she's, the honest, transparent, very direct reflection of me, and she holds me accountable, and she also reassures me in a lot of ways. And so, dude, I'm telling you, man, I'm blessed. I have both. I have both. I'm very blessed. And my mom's a dog. Like, she still works 2 to 3 jobs right now, not because she has to, because she wants to. It's just who she is, so, and it's not, like a sense of, oh, I just need to be busy. It's like, no, I want to be in a position to always be able to provide for my children and give them everything I possibly can. And, that's where it comes from. And so, yeah, man, I'm just super lucky. Like, I think all my siblings, we're all very lucky. I have 3 younger siblings, and it's incredible. I just hope I'm in a position where I can give back to them, in some way in the future. But yeah, man, it's crazy. It's cool. It's definitely cool, because it's like, you want to take where your parents have gotten and bring it that much further, and that's kind of like my goal. And I think I might be on the right path to doing that. I'm not sure yet, but I think we're headed down the right path. So,
well, what's your dad's squat? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about here? Take it easy, right? 2,000 people. Let's see his Instagram followers. That's all I'm saying. I know. Those are the things that count when we're keeping track of these things. You have 3 younger siblings?
Yeah. My sister and then 2 younger brothers.
Dude, fucking are they 2 little meatballs?
Logan is the youngest one. Is definitely a little meatball. Yeah.
Is he? Or they must think this is the wildest. Like, watching their older brother do everything you do, and like,
bro, I don't think they give a fuck. They don't see me any different. Nah, dude. I mean, maybe my sister a little bit, because she can appreciate it, but no, man, because they know, bro, I'm nobody. I'm nothing. I'm just
to them. But don't they still think, like, because your siblings will always just look at you as like some guy who takes up too much room on the couch or some shit. You know what I mean? But when they see you like on the live stream and they see all that shit, they must think this is crazy that's Gavin.
I hope so, man, because that's part of the reason why I do it. The goal isn't to like, make them feel like, oh man, now I have to live up to this. Like, that's not it at all. The goal is to show them what's fucking possible. It's to show them, like, don't ever let anybody tell you can't do something. You can do it. It's going to take work. It's going to be hard. You will fail a lot, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. And you have what it takes. That's my goal. I got to show them that. And in my opinion, what better way to lead than by example? So that's the goal. That's what my parents did for me. Like my dad didn't tell me and preach to me about being successful. My mom didn't preach to me about it. They just went and did it. You know what I mean? Like they did it. And I learned from that, the action of that, it's dude, I remember a time when, both my parents were working 7 days a week, and my dad, we would barely see my dad, but that's what it took. That's what it was, and you grind it and here we are, and again, I'm blessed with the opportunities and privileges that I have, but it's off the sweat and blood of their backs, and I'm very, very grateful for that. But now it's my responsibility to, again, carry that torch. I hope my siblings are inspired by it. I really do, because again, man, that's what we do it for, is genuinely to show. I want them to truly believe in themselves and to see. It could be art, it could be psychology, anything. It could be anything you want. It doesn't have to be physical, it doesn't have to be lifting. Pick something, pursue it, and pursue it with excellence. Really try and raise the bar and be the best that you can be. And because I know you're capable of being fucking great, when you are the best you can be, you will be the best in the world. It just follows suit. It's just how it works. So yeah, I hope that they do get something from it. But
but I mean, just do whatever you're doing with passion. The worst. Okay, listen. I've never in my life not been passionate. I remember having Chance actually on the podcast, and Chance is like, I worry that you stretch yourself too thin and then you're going to burn out because you're doing like podcast. Like there's a stretch wall podcast every fucking day. Tomorrow I got 2. Sunday I got 2, because I need to hit as many people as I can coming off Sheffield. And I'm flying all over, and I got a day job that's drive me crazy. I'm still training and doing all this shit. And Chance is like, I just worry, man, because you post every day, everything, you're gonna burn out. And I'm like, Chance, this dude that you see talking on the podcast or hear on the commentary, I am literally this passionate. This is how I approach life, period. Like, I'm a passionate person. I'm like, it won't burn out. This is me until I'm dead. Like, this is just the way I am. It won't, don't worry about, I'm losing.
Like,
I'll never lose steam.
What's the alternative? You know what I mean? Not doing it.
Some people, some people I don't relate to at all. Just fucking work a 9 to 5. They go home, they put on the TV, and then they go, have dinner and go to sleep afterwards, wake up, and then maybe on the weekend have a dinner party. And like, you're just waiting to die in my books. Like, I don't understand you. I am that dude who's like, what is the next big event? What are we doing? I need passion in my life. And I don't relate at all to Joe 95 everyday Joe Sixpack.
Yeah.
It's not me, man. And that's what would breaks my heart when I see people like that. I'm like, I don't know, man. The people like wait until what? You could always have something.
Yeah.
There's people like Jennifer Thompson who are like 50 years old, married, 2-3 kids. They're at 50. Maybe your kids have kids by now. I don't know. And she's still at USAPL Raw Nats in the Open, breaking world records. Like, no, there's never a reason why you have to give up passion. That's just probably somebody who doesn't have passion, who just can't wait until you let it go.
Yeah, dude, you gotta find it. You also have to trust, like, you have to give yourself the freedom. And this is kind of like dude, it's hard, man. I'm still figuring this out myself, but you have to give yourself the freedom to make mistakes. You just do, because you're not gonna be good at everything. And you're certainly gonna have to take time to get better at things, right? Everybody will throw stones. Everybody will have something to say. Everybody will think you're either a piece of shit or a great human. I've had people tell me I'm super fucking cocky. I've had people tell me I'm one of the most humble guys they've ever met. I believe neither, and so again, dude, like, there will always be something. You have to give yourself the freedom to let go of it all and trust that so long as you are doing what you do with good intention, and you're trying to be as good as you can, and you have 1 or 2 people in your life who you trust to hold you accountable, then you just keep going. You let the fucking reins fly. You have to you just have to burn your ships, bro. You have to burn your ships. You have to go all fucking in. And I know that some people feel like, oh, well, it's just not practical, or, oh, well, I just can't. Brother, we can all make excuses. We all got shit. Every single one of us. And I'm not invalidating your reason. It's probably the truest thing in the world. But it does not change the reality. If you want to get to where you're going, at some point you're gonna have to just forego the excuse and just keep fucking going and figure it the fuck out. We all have shit to figure out. It's just what it is. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying that it's, you shouldn't, feel bad or anything. That's okay. But again, if the goal is to win, if the goal is to get to the end zone, then you have to. You have no choice. You have to let go of the excuses and stuff. And again, that comes back to the freedom. You have to give yourself the freedom to move forward. For me, how I do that, I remind myself that death is inevitable. We're all going to die. Like, I'm going to die. So what the fuck does it matter anyway? Like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, genuinely, like, it does not matter. Once you embrace death, then you start to realize like you are truly free. What's there to fear? What's there to, pain, maybe, but it'll be temporary. You know that, that's guaranteed. So what the fuck? Just go all in. Who gives a shit? Worst the case that happens is you fail miserably, and such is life. You keep going. You know what I mean? Like I said, you will die one day anyway, so it doesn't matter. So that's kind of how I go about it.
Everything is temporary. Is there someone in the room right now with you?
No.
Okay. I want to ask you about, you had briefly touched on, you said you dig into some dark places.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of these dark places? I don't think we've ever talked about that.
Yeah. So that's kind of like, I call upon like a collection of things. It ranges from everything from like things about myself to experiences I've had. And I feel like, it's kind of like you have to, as an athlete, at least in this sport, you have to find ways to tap into the really deep shit, the stuff that will bring that fight or flight out of you. And sometimes it's positive stuff, sometimes it's negative stuff. It changes. For me, I kind of have like an arsenal of things. And, in life, you will experience pain. You'll experience betrayal. You'll hurt people that you love. You'll be the reason why people cry, and that's painful. You'll have regrets, you'll endure things and go through things that are traumatic to some degree, you have to take all of that stuff, or I take all of that stuff and I bottle it up. Sometimes, especially in training and in prep, it gets the better of me, and I'll just be sitting at my desk late at night, and I will, I've had moments, pretty dark, deep moments. But the key for me is to bottle it up for the competition, because I need to use it. I need that shit to be full, because it sounds really bad, but I bring myself to the point where I want to kill myself. And I'm not just throwing that around. I wouldn't joke around about that. I bring myself to a point where I hate myself so much, I could vividly picture putting metal in my mouth and pulling a trigger. And that is exactly what I'm thinking about when I go for a 740 squat. That's exactly what I was thinking about when I went for the 750 deadlift. That's exactly what I'm thinking about when I step on the podium and I place fucking third instead of first. That's what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking about when I'm sitting here after this podcast, and I'm thinking about all the things that I still haven't done, or all the shortcomings I've had, or all the things that I could have done better. Not accomplishments. I'm talking about as a human. People I've hurt, things I've said that I shouldn't have, or responsibilities of mine that I kind of just let go. Right? Things, all of my shortcomings, all the things that make me human and shit, I bottle all that stuff. And again, because I've mastered, I feel, the art of self-awareness, I have there is no lack of things that I can think about that I think are negative or that are wrong with me, or things that, again, just, they're the deep stuff. It's the darker stuff. But there are some positive things that I tap into as well. I have text messages and screenshots from, people like my mom and stuff that mean a lot to me. And I think about that stuff, and sometimes I kind of make up scenarios in my head, where, like, I remember in training for one of my lifts, I had to really kind of dig deep because my body was killing me. I was hurt and all this shit, and I had to make it work anyway. And I remember thinking in my head, almost as if like people were attacking me. I was bloody and battered. People were attacking me, and I had my family behind me. I had the people I love behind me, and I had to protect them. And that was the mindset I put myself into in order to complete the lift and put my body in that fight or flight, make myself kind of numb to the pain in a way. This is probably why I think I would do well in acting, because I practice that a lot with my mindset. It's almost like putting yourself in these positions and getting your body to respond in a way that you need it to. You almost have to like traumatize yourself. You relive trauma in a way to get your body to do that. And so, yeah, man, I think I call it luck, but it's also probably not healthy. But the last like year for me has been really, really tough. I've had a lot of things happen in my personal life that, some of them are self-induced, some of them are not. But regardless, they still exist that, have been pretty painful, pretty tough to deal with, pretty just hard, you know? And so I draw on now all that, you know, I bring notes with me. I bring pictures of things with me. I bring all that stuff with me. To a meet, you know, in a little satchel, like in a little like Carhartt thing. And I will pull that out if I need to. And I will literally, like, before that squat, I was like borderline just going to be walking out crying, you know, because I'm thinking about these things. You know, and I write notes, and I think this is something every athlete should do. I have a sheet of paper with notes of all of these, like, I don't want to call them triggers because that's not what they are, but they kind of are, these words or phrases or statements that just, as soon as I see it, it will remind me of, yep, that's what I need to be thinking. That's it. Now I'm in pain. Now I feel it. Now I have my sense of despair. You know, now I have the fuel that I need to move forward, because it's just, that's what, and dude, you get to this point where, not to run on, but you get to this point where you don't care about the lift. Like, dude, for the squat, I kid you not, I wanted it to kill me. Like, I genuinely was in a frame of mind where I wanted it to break me, to rip me apart and just fucking bury me. I just genuinely wanted to feel the weight just fucking crash on me. And I used all of that as almost like a anger or like a deep sadness, like this fuel to just overcome it, you know? And so, like, yeah, that's the place that I've had to go, you know, to make these performances happen. And the thing is, people, I think, forget, and they're like, oh, that's kind of crazy and whatever. That shit exists in my mind and in my heart, regardless of lifting. I'm using lifting as a way to channel it, because if I didn't, then things probably wouldn't be so healthy for me, you know? Like I said before, there's nothing anybody could tell me that's negative that I haven't already told myself. And it's just the truth, you know? So yeah, I've had plenty of experiences that, you know, I kind of draw upon that definitely, you know, fuel those times. But it's, again, it's, you channel it. You have to channel it for something, you know? It's an energy. So by itself, it could be neither good nor bad. You have to use it for something, you know? So either you make it, you know, it's a destructive force or a positive force. And I try to use it as a positive force in my training or in my competing.
So you would think this, like, so you would think this otherwise anyways, or you think you would, like, the weightlifting doesn't bring it on?
No, the weightlifting doesn't bring it on. It's there. It's there no matter what. These thoughts are going to be there. All of those feelings are going to be there. Instead of, you know, just letting it sit there and eat me alive in those moments, I try to channel a lot of it into this, you know. And I think a lot of people do that. You know, a lot of people channel their pain and channel their trauma or channel a lot of their suffering into something good. They try and use it as like fuel in a way, you know, and that's, yeah. So it would be there regardless. You know, I've definitely, you know, struggled quite a bit the past, you know, few years, but specifically the past like year and a half, I'd say. You know, but yeah, man, I mean, it's like I said, death is inevitable. And so for me, it's contributed to this reality of just like, just let go, just let it fucking go. You know, like it is what it is. Like, let go of the outcomes, let go of the numbers, let go of what I care about is the feeling of just giving everything, because I genuinely want to feel the pain. I want to see how far I can push my body. Because I have all this inside me and it's got to go fucking somewhere. You know what I mean? So yeah, it is what it is, but it definitely would be there regardless of lifting.
This is like a whole lot to unpack, a whole lot
Yeah.
to digest. This is, but it is like, it's like, where do you think the trauma has come from? Like, where do you think these feelings come from? Because I can tell you right now, like, you're like one of my favorite people.
Oh,
When you tell yourself, like, I'm telling you right now, like, when you tell yourself, like, you can't think of like positive things about yourself, I'm like, dude, what the fuck? God, dude, I'm like tearing up right now hearing you talk about yourself like that. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about, Gavin? I fucking could be going another hour of why I would need you in my life. And I can't think about what the fuck are you talking about, bro?
Yeah, you know, it's not something that's always been, you know, there in my life, but I think, you know, over the last, I have a very, very natural melancholy temperament. Like, that's my temperament. My temperament is not like extroverted, you know, out there. Like, it is very to myself, very introspective. I think deeply. I think about a lot of things, and I am pretty self-aware. At least I try to be. And so when you pair all of those things together with the personality of a high achiever, that's, I think, the issue, because you set this bar, you have these standards, and it has nothing to do with anybody else. It's just what you see as the top. And so it's easy to constantly fail and fall short. in every area. I'm not just talking about lifting. I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about business, everything. When you add it up, you're going to have a lot more L's than W's. That's just the nature of life. And so sometimes they stack, man, and they weigh heavy. And I think the reality is, I see that. I see it for what it is. And so there are plenty of times throughout my life where, it weighs very heavy, and you kind of have to just you just go another day. Like, you just eat it, and again, I'm very grateful that I have very supportive people in my life. I'm very grateful that I have training. I have my competitive experience, but I also have siblings that I have to lead the way for. But yeah, man, I think it's a net positive, because as dark and as deep as it can get sometimes, again, it's because of that stuff that allows me to have performances like I had at Sheffield. Not that Sheffield was anything spectacular. I mean, it was still 880, but I know that was a showing of just a glimpse of what I'm capable of. And that would not be possible had I not, if I didn't have this, in me. And so there's a yin and yang, man. The brightest light will cast a shadow, and so you need both. I just happen to have a little bit more of the dark than the light in me, but that's just my natural, temperament. And
Put it this way, man. When I talk about Delaney, I don't give a fuck what he does for a day job or any of this shit. I just want to be around him.
Yeah.
There are people whom in business do amazing, and I know people, wife, kids, and I know the behind the scenes. And I would 100%, if Delaney was a janitor, would be like, I'd rather be Delaney. I would keep my head high because nobody could ever talk about me, negatively. But this other guy who's successful in all these other ventures, I fucking know. And everyone would be like, that guy is not a good guy. When you're weighing yourself out, the biggest thing you need to ask yourself is that, not a lot of this other bullshit. Dog, I know you. You're a good guy. This is not in terms of not stacking up or whatever. It's like nobody who's close to you would fucking think that, dude. Nobody's gonna think that, dude. Who gives a fuck about dog? You could be working down literally, I was a janitor when I was going through university. You could be a fucking janitor working. I wouldn't give a shit, man. I spend 3 shifts with you, and I'd be like, this guy's the shit. Yeah. I want him in my life. I don't give a fuck, man. And fuck somebody who's judging or whatever. We judge each other, ourselves, the harshest. I'm just saying, keep things in mind. Anything that you might feel shame about, is it if it's anything to do with, I'm not doing enough this side or the other status wise, that's not the same with, there's some people who are for real morally corrupted, who are, they're just not good people. They will hurt you behind your back. They will take advantage. They will do shit like that. And there's a fucking difference, man. And that ain't you, kid. That ain't fucking you, man. I hope not. I appreciate you're a real dude. And so don't worry about that other bullshit.
No, I appreciate
it. Fuck that shit.
It's tough, man. It's tough. Life is filled with tough decisions. And, I always worry about making the wrong one. And, as much as I worry about making the wrong one, I'll think about it for forever and then still end up making the wrong one, so it's, I live, dude, I don't know. I live my life. Again, I think very deeply. I think I take life very seriously. That's kind of always been my problem. And, and I always have, I think I spoke about this briefly on the Powerlifting America podcast. But, the reality is, when you are a high achiever and you do have big dreams, one of your biggest fears is not just being average. It's this idea that you just might not have been born with the abilities to do what you set out to do. That's a sense of despair. It's almost like no matter how hard you work, that wall, no matter how hard you push, that wall will never budge. No matter how hard you work, you'll never get to where you want to go. And I have those thoughts all the time. I also have the other thoughts, though. I also kind of can balance that out with this idea of first of all, that despair will fuel me, because it turns into this deep anger, and frustration. But it's also this sense of no. Regardless of whether or not I was actually born for it, I am going to make it so that I was born for it. And that's, so dude, it's a tide, man. Sometimes it's low, sometimes it's high. The biggest thing that I just there's so many things in life, obviously, that come with baggage and that come with hardship and adversity and stuff. But I think that, you know, I the best way to do it, to describe it, is I respect the journey. I respect the pain. I respect the idea of, the coming of age story where you have to leave the village. You have to leave the kingdom. You have to go out on your own. You have to fight the beasts. You have to slay the dragon. You have to go through that to evolve and to become who you were meant to be. You have to. You can't have it any other way. And that's what this is. I'm in that period of my life, and that's, and I respect that. I take it for what it is. And so, yeah, I mean, I use a lot of that stuff for to try to be successful in what I do. But yeah, man, I'm definitely not, a perfect person, and I definitely tried my best to like stay on track and be as good of a person as I can be. But that's why, like I said, man, it helps to have someone like my mom, because she is my mirror, and she's an honest mirror, and she'll tell me when I'm wrong. She'll also tell me when I'm right. And I usually need the latter more than the other. I usually need that kind of reassurance from her in a lot of ways, and yeah, that's why she'll always have a special place in my heart, But yeah, man, I appreciate the kind words, dude. It
Dog,
means a lot.
yeah, fuck that. You feeling bad? Give me a ring. I'm like a huge Gavin Adin supporter. And in terms of like the journey,
Mhm.
let me tell you this quick story. So Tyson Fury, did I tell you the Tyson Fury story?
No, not yet.
So Tyson Fury, the heavyweight champion of the world, was literally born 1988 when Mike Tyson was in his prime, and his father named him Tyson after Mike Tyson and said he's going to be the heavyweight champion of the world. And Tyson Fury, since he was a child, boxed. So when you're talking about like, will I fulfill this, and the journey and the greatness and the doubts and everything, his whole life led to the moment where he had to fulfill his destiny, his birthright. And his great grandfather was a bare knuckle boxer. We're talking generations. And he's named after Mike Tyson. And he fought for the heavyweight championship of the world, and he won it. That night, he went home and for the first time started having suicidal thoughts. And within 6 months, he was 400 pounds, an alcoholic, and an attempted suicide, and a drug addict, and it was attempting suicide. And that's when he realized, hyper focused on the destination. Like, when I reach this, everything's good. When I reach that, we're all good. That's my destiny. That's this. And when he got there and woke up the next day, he realized life felt the exact same.
Yeah.
You know what happiness is? Is when we are all kicking it in the fucking lobby.
No, 100%.
When we're all going to be in Malta. When we're all sitting around at a podcast for fucking 3 hours pass by, but we don't know it.
Yeah.
And we bounce from topic to topic. And fucking we laughed. You fucking literally made me cry. You fucking we're talking about whatever. This is better than anything. This is all life is. This is all it is. That's the secret.
It's funny. I have a story for. I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick, but I have a story for you that kind of coincides.
Go to the bathroom. I'll pause it.
Yeah.
Okay, you got a story.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that, because not that it's really anywhere near the same in terms of like stature, but the Sweden Worlds was a lot like that for me, because like in my head it was always like, oh, I want to be world champion, want to be world champion. That was like supposed to be the cattle, like, the big event. And I did it. And granted, it was just a junior world championship, but for me, I kind of viewed it as if it was everything. And obviously it's during COVID, and like we had all this hardship to kind of like get there, and whatever. It's a long story. After I won, I was sitting in my hotel room, like after everything, and having met tons of people, and everybody wanted to like talk to me and stuff, and it was so cool. And I sat in my hotel room, and I was like, this is it. Like, I feel worse than I did before I won. Like, I remember just feeling like, and dude, that Sweden was literally a catalyst for so much change in my life ever since then. Like, just so much change. Some of it good, some of it bad, and so it's crazy, because like I remember that being like the turning point, and yeah, and it's nuts. And actually, like, I mean, I don't know a ton about Tyson Fury, but one of the things that at least from the surface level, that I really like about him is the first of all, it's just a straight up love now for boxing, not so much for being a champion, just a straight up love for the game. But he can't not do it, otherwise everything falls apart. And he's also a man of God, and I appreciate that and I respect that. And that's something that, like, I'm always working on my relationship with my faith, and that's played such a massive role in where I've gotten now, especially in my headspace, but also as an athlete. And it's just incredible to see, like I remember watching him versus Deontay, and the interview kind of, and like you could see Wilder was on edge. He wasn't he wasn't himself. And dude, Tyson was just like, you're going to lose, and that's what I admired. That's what I saw. And that's what I wanted for myself. And like, it's crazy because, like I said, yeah, Sweden, like, dude, after I won, like, I felt like everything just fucking tanked. And I was like, I literally don't even give any medals I have. I don't even know where they are. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, a best lifter awards, all that shit is somewhere, I don't, it's crazy. Like, none of it means anything to me. And, yeah, so it's funny you told that story because I kind of like could somewhat relate to it.
Well, it's a hold on one sec. I think I got that exact what Tyson Fury is saying to Deontay Wilder. I'll play it for a second. You want me to play it?
Yeah, sure.
This is not your time. Your time may come, but this is not your time. You may think it's your time. You may feel like it's your time. But it's not your time, Tyson. This is my time.
Definitely
and it
not.
will forever be my time until I retire. I'm sorry to tell you that because I speak it, believe it, receive it. Speak it, believe it, receive it. Speak it, believe it, receive it. And it's mine.
Let me tell you, all that stuff you just said, you're already beat.
Believe it.
Anyone who has to have an alter ego and not be themselves in there
real.
and trying to get in someone's mind like
It
that.
is. I'm not trying to get in your
You can't beat
mind.
me.
It's
And if
not
I'm
an
not talking to
illusion.
Deontay Wilder,
It's not an
let me
illusion.
talk to the other person
can't
inside
get
you,
in-
the bronze bomber.
I'm not trying to get in
You're
your
looking at a
mind.
man who stands in the light.
I don't want you
I
to
can't be beat by any
I don't
alter
want you to
egos.
feel me.
I can't be beat.
I don't want you to feel that
I've
type
already
of way.
beaten you. I've
But
beaten
when
you
get
once in
the ring,
Dusseldorf. I'll
never,
beat you again in
never,
America.
Never.
Can't be done. I
want you-
can't be
never.
beat.
Even when you stand aside me, you feel
I do
the
speak
energy.
it. I do
Even when
believe
you
it.
sit
And
aside,
I
you
do
feel
say
the energy.
it to
I
the
know,
world.
'cause I can
Because
feel
I
your
want the world
heartbeat.
to know the truth. And people like you want them to know nothing.
We shall
You might say
see.
speak it, believe it, see it, but I don't know what
No,
you
it's
believe
speak it,
in.
believe it, and receive
I
it.
don't, but I know what
And
you
it's
believe
mine.
in. You believe in something I don't.
Well, that's the problem.
We don't believe in the same things.
And we're from a different
And this is
world.
where I don't like
A
you
different
anymore.
culture.
I came here today thinking me and you were similar. But sitting around this table, I know that me and you are so worlds apart.
Most definitely.
Worlds apart.
Light years.
I look to nothing to come
Light
inside me
years.
and win fights. Only the power of God above. That's it. And I get the power from that. I don't get the power from anything else. I don't need a second person to come and help me. I've already beaten people like you many, many times. I'm bumping into people like you every single day of my life. And I give them the same answer.
There's only one
It
bronze
doesn't matter. Do you know what I say to you? Ask and you shall receive. Ask and you'll
There's only
receive.
one bronze palmer.
Yeah, I can see it now. I can see it. I can see the alter ego coming through.
Don't you feel
You and your alter ego are a pack of bums.
The NBA is back.
It's
This season.
the thing with that is what Tyson was saying is, and you were speaking about this earlier. It's people create alter egos and masks, right? And you could see where Deontay felt like he was getting called out and losing, just started talking like a mad person, just trying to be. And Tyson saw right through it and was like, "You need an alter ego. You don't actually believe." Tyson, looking at that, you get the impression Tyson Fury 100% believed everything he was saying and was like, "I know I'm going to beat you." Deontay looked like he was just talking and trying to put on an act.
You could feel it. You could feel.
You
the
could
energy
feel
in the
it.
room.
You could
Yeah,
feel it.
100%.
And Fury 100% believed it.
Yeah.
100% believed I am going to beat you. And I now I see it more than ever. I sat down at this table. I wasn't entirely sure. Now I see the way you're reacting. That's not you. You're hiding behind an alter ego.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm real. I believe it.
Yeah.
It's
and I've tried to adopt that. Also, John Jones too. Not the greatest role model in the world, but I think what he's put on recently, like with his last fight, and kind of how he just sat there, like he was just him. You know what I mean? He was a solid him, like his confidence, everything. He didn't feel the need to talk tons of shit and speak out and it was just, it's like, listen, man, I'm going to give you an honest answer. I'm going to be here because I have to be. I'm training. I'm in my mind right now. I'm at peace with myself. That's how I aim to be. That's how I approach Sheffield. Like, that's why I genuinely meant it. Like when you had us both, Jonathan and I next to each other, and we were, you were doing that interview in the media room before the event, I'm happy that for Jonathan that the event, meant everything to him. But for me, it was almost like meant nothing, It's kind of like, not in the sense of I think it's worthless, but in the sense of that's not why I'm here. I'm not here to win. I'm not here for money. I'm not here for glory. All the glory would go to God anyway. It's not me, brother. I'm here just to see what the fuck I'm capable of, and I'm confident in my power and in my strength. So if I do what I'm capable of successfully, yes, none of you will come close to me. But that still has to happen, And so that's just how I felt. I genuinely tried to embody that, and I still try to embody that. So, yeah.
It is in talking about the Tyson Fury story where and it's right back to what you said about Sweden, how you went back to the hotel room like, I think I feel worse than I did before. And Tyson Fury 100% felt worse after he achieved it. It's because you don't want to put too much of an onus on one thing that when this happens, this will change for me. What it is exactly what we were talking about earlier. Just the passion and striving. Having a goal to strive for is more important than reaching the goal. As a matter of fact, more to the point where you said earlier, if you die and never reach your goal, it was more important along the way searching for the goal. Because after you hit it is when you have that emptiness of what now, whatever. And the goal will never change your life. But all the experiences chasing that goal for you has put you all around the world, to South Africa, to Sweden, to fucking in Turkey, where we're commentating with like 3 hours sleep for sessions, four sessions a day. We're like, remember you went like, you had talked for like an hour and you said something and I forgot you were still there. And it was just like the podcast we've had and like, you chasing this goal. All of this has happened because you're chasing the goal. And if you ever become a world champion, that you would never want to swap that one day for all these other days and moments. These other days and moments are like way the fuck more.
Yeah, and that's what I said in the SBD video that like, my mom kind of woke me up to again, which was it's not about the outcome. It's about who you have to become in pursuit of the outcome. That's it. It genuinely is about that. And then if you take it a step further, there are people watching. What kind of message do you want to send to them? And do you want to be consistent with the message you say? If I say burn your ships, does that mean I don't get to pull 750 when it means I could be on the podium instead of world record total? Should I just go with the safe? Should I go maybe just slightly above? When I go for a world record, should I do what I think I'm capable of, or should I just chip the world record? Right? So if I say burn your ships, if you're going to take the island, burn your ships, go all fucking in, and then I don't do that, who am I? Right? So that's the difference. And that's why I have confidence in myself. It's not because I see false bullshit. It's because I try to show up for myself when I can. I try to. And it's not like that all the time, but I just fucking try to. And I think that's the difference is when you do that, you're showing people the results of said behavior, of said action. And that's important too. And like, again, bro, Arnold, Tyson Fury, Mike Tyson, at least from the competitive, like his sports side of things, as an athlete, I'm looking at that stuff and it's inspiring me. It's teaching me, literally teaching me how to think, how to act, how to be. So now I'm going to be that for others if I'm lucky enough. So you have to recognize that. And I think that's really special. But yeah, man, I mean, that's why, dude, it's like, I've said it before. I will say it again. Strength goes so far beyond a weight room, and it genuinely, like, it has nothing to do with the barbell, so yeah, it's awesome though, dude, because like, that's why I love social media now, because I think we get to see these top stars for who they are and at least see their brand, and so like, you get to see Tyson Fury in these moments, and then you get to see the outcome, and then you get to decide like, oh shit, yeah, maybe I should be like that guy. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Okay. And what's interesting? You were talking about Mike Tyson, and do you know how he was brought up? This is the crazy. Okay. Crazy. So when he was picked up by Customato at 13, and I mean, Tyson was a full on hobo. His dad walked out on him. His mom died of cancer. He was in and out of orphanages, and he was hanging around like murderers at 13, like bad dude who, like, his best friend is the guy who shot 50 Cent 9 times and he was a hitman. His best friend was a hitman, shot 50 Cent 9 times. And then 3 weeks later, he got shot. And 50 Cent raps about the guy. His name's Homo, short for homicide. That's Mike Tyson's best friend. When Mike Tyson won a fight, he dedicated his fight to that guy. He used the guy's real name. And everyone's like, we all know who that guy is. So anyways, bad dude. And he gets picked up at 13 by Customato. And Customato wanted to shape him mentally to be so mentally tough and built for this. So, when you sleep, sometimes if a song comes on, but it's not enough to wake you up, but it's enough that obviously your ears don't turn off. You hear things. You could hear it, but you're still sleeping because it's not a loud, aggressive song. It actually can enter your dreams. It enters your subconscious. You're hearing things. And sometimes you dream with a song and you've ever woken up and, oh, fuck, the song's on the radio. I was actually dreaming I was on a resort and the song was playing. It enters your mind. Customato. Mike Tyson found out, like, when he's like 16. One night he couldn't sleep. And Customato was in his room very quietly over and over repeating, "You are a god. You were born to fight. You were scared in the dressing room, but when you enter the ring, you were unbeatable." And kept repeating these things very hush over and over and over and over. And Mike Tyson laid in his bed and realized, holy fuck, this guy's literally been like the hypnotists that can they work a crowd. He was literally in Customato. Later on, Mike Tyson would when Customato passed, he had books on how to do this with people, how to like hypnotize people and do shit and implant things in their brains. Mike Tyson would talk about, he'd be 15 years old. 15, and Mike Tyson at 15 was a jacked 200 pounds. He's a freak. He'd be 15 years old, signed up and fighting 25-year-old men. And he'd be in his dressing room crying. And Cuss would be like, "You got to get in that ring, son. You're the future." And he'd be like, "I can't fuck it. This is crazy. I'm fighting." That guy's got like a beard. And Mike Tyson would walk closer and closer down to the ring. And every step he took, he got a little more confident, a little more confident. And he was in tears earlier. And then he said, "By the time I ducked my head and entered the ring through the ropes, I'm God." And I was 15 years old. And he goes, "I remember hitting this guy so hard." He had an afro. And he hit him so hard. And there was a small, they call them smokers, like they're fighting in it. Like it was an official match, but it was inside, like a boxing gym was hosting a tournament, an amateur tournament. He said the guy hit the ropes and his head whipped back so hard and there's so much sweat. It was like it hit the wall behind them.
Wow.
Because that's how close the ring was to the wall. But he remembers hearing the sweat fly and smoke the wall like that. And Mike was like, "I would lay waste to 25-year-old men. And I was a fucking kid." And he's like, he became an egomaniac, a complete narcissist. And that's when he ended up getting in tons of, 18 years old, he's a pro. At 20, he was almost a teenager. He's just barely he was the heavyweight champion of the world. Rich, famous, women, money, drugs, and could literally destroy any man who stepped to him. And literally was programmed to believe, "I'm a god." And he's like, "It made me and ruined me because Cuss died and I lost my mentor." And he had no parents, no nothing. And and then he left me in this world like that.
Yeah.
And that's when Mike Tyson unraveled. And the Mike Tyson story, he's not a good human. Now at like in his 50s, he's a different human being altogether.
Yeah. No, 100%.
But when he was in his 20s, you can imagine give a guy everything and make him believe he's a god, but have absolutely no guidance at all. Now go. And there's no doors closed to you. You're rich, you're famous, and you're the toughest guy in the fucking world.
Yeah. Nobody's going to say something.
No, it's crazy. And he's like, I can't even, I'm sure he was a terrible human being. And the things he's accused of, I think he did, even though I'm a massive Mike Tyson fan. And I think he's a different person now. He talks about things and he's like a different person now. It's crazy how time can do to you. And I have a hard time compartmentalizing Mike Tyson in my mind. I admire him in so many ways,
well,
but
it's tough, right? Because you as a competitor, but also as like just an ambitious individual, you admire just the pure, like raw confidence, and like what he has is what it takes, you know. But then you also see like, yeah, I mean, I think I wrote a paper on him once. I was a psych undergrad, and I also did uh neuroscience, and we were trying to figure out, like, I personally was interested in athletes and motivation, and what is motivation, what does that mean for the central nervous system, all that stuff. And obviously one of the people I looked at was Mike.
it's
But
fascinating.
yeah, and what's interesting really is like how different things in his life shaped him, like the death of his daughter, you know, like those like little things. Like I remember watching an interview and he was like, "Oh, the belts and the title, they don't mean anything. They mean nothing," you know. And it's so weird because like in my own little world, I could relate to that to some degree, you know, like I really genuinely don't give a fuck about the medals that I have. Like it's just, they're just in a pile, you know. And at one point in my life I did care about that, you know. And so it's just, it's so crazy how like we're all human and we all have that in common. And when you see other people become extremely successful at something, it almost, it should show you what's possible, you know. And it should and like that's kind of it. It's like, how do you crack the code? Like you do have to be a little insane, just a little bit crazy to accomplish something crazy and insane, you know. um and that's why like it doesn't really worry me like what I think about, you know, when I'm going for these big ass lifts, or you know, because I recognize like this just might be what it takes, you know. I don't know, I'm not the best, but if I had to take a guess, this is going to be it, and this is what I'm going to have to do, you know. And so and it'd almost be crazier to assume that being normal is what's going to achieve abnormal things, right? So like it just is what it is, you know. 1 + 1 doesn't equal 5, you know. So you do need, you need to add more, you know. And that's, yeah, it is fucking crazy. But dude, I have like just a whole slew of athletes and people, and that I, you know, not that I put on a pedestal, but that I am inspired by, or I draw aspects from, that I'm really like, man, dude, like this is what I need to take from this person. This is what I need to, you know, that kind of thing. So
It's the duality, and also people change. Like
yeah,
I admire Mike Tyson for so many things, but I think the sexual assault stuff he's accused of, he did, and it's fucking, I like literally, it's disgusting. And it's like, how is this possible in my mind's eye? But then you're like, and then I also don't think he's the same guy at I think he was like 23 when that happened, as like 53 when he's done the other side of prison, and now he has wife, kids, lost a kid, and he's now like I mean a totally different person. When you hear him on the podcast, the way he talks and stuff, and it's like, I don't know how I fucking digest and unpack this. It's weird. It's the duality of people in general. And you've like, you forgive someone and move on. Or do you just like, or should you, what are you going to do? Take him out back and shoot him when he's 23? Or do you forgive him, let him back in society? Or you do, but only to an extent, you keep it hanging over his head? Or what does it mean if you forgive him and you admire certain qualities still? Does that make you a bad person now? Or all of it? A guy like Mike Tyson is very difficult for me to unpack. And it's,
yeah.
tough,
I mean,
man.
I think, you know, the important part is like to remember to try to avoid the human instinct of like judgment, you know. So
Right,
like
right,
judgment
right.
will protect us, but like at the same time, from a distance, I think it's healthy. You can ignore it, you know, because the reality is we're not perfect. And I think this is, I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson, and there's a book that was basically, I believe, I don't want to like misquote it, but it was basically like this kind of study. Essentially what happened was um, people went over to Nazi Germany, and essentially these were people that thought that they could never be capable of doing the things that the Nazis were doing. Long story short, they end up becoming, they slowly assimilate to what the Nazis were doing, and they end up being the officers doing these things in Nazi Germany. And the idea is, and what Jordan Peterson talks about is, we are all capable of this. Like, stop thinking of yourself as the person who would save and rescue. Also think of yourself as the person who would be the person who commits these things, right? And is capable of genocide and all these atrocities, because we all have that, you know. And so that, bringing this full circle, allows me to, when I look at guys like Arnold's not perfect either. I mean, he had a
No, I
baby
had the
with,
same issues, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, so that's why for me, it's like I go into it, A, judgment free. It's not my job to judge. B, I go into it like, okay, I am going to make sure that I take all the good qualities, put them over here in this pile from this one person. I'm going to take all the good qualities from that person, put them in this pile. Good quality, put them in this pile. And what I'm going to do is create this ideal person out of all of the good qualities that are in this pile. And that's what I've done, So, do I take relationship advice from Arnold's stuff? No, I do not. Do I take how to function in society from Mike Tyson? No, I don't. But when it comes to being an athlete and being the best, do I look at Mike Tyson? Absolutely. When it comes to creating a legacy and breaking into the industries and building something like an empire, do I look at art? Absolutely. So I've learned to kind of like pick and choose different pieces of people that I want, and things that I feel like, okay, if I can find somebody who, again, is like, for me, I mean, like I said, I'm a man of faith. So for a lot of like my moral stuff and who I try to be as a man, a lot of it comes from Jesus, right? So a lot of that I pick and I say, okay, this is the ideal. I'm probably not going to be able to attain this, but I'm going to try. And that's kind of like what I float to, or what I try to work towards.
It's I was just trying to look up this one speech that Mike Tyson gives about life, but fucking dude, I'm dropping these like I'm fucking Joe Rogan and Jamie at the same time, huh?
Yeah, we got to get you a Jamie, bro. We need to get you an assistant.
Here it is. I think I found it. All right. Can I play this one? You want to see it?
Of course.
Doug, what are we doing right now? Is this an all-nighter? What's going on? What places are we going to?
Bro, people listen and be like, what the fuck?
They're like, these guys know this is still going on, right? these guys
Holy
know
shit.
This is still recorded, right?
No, we're you know what you're doing? You're stockpiling from Malta. You're giving people content. That's what you need. Just for the 30 days of travel, 30 hours of travel.
Listen to this one clip from Mike Tyson. It's fucking beautiful.
Life is beautiful, but you have to accept the good and the bad as being. Listen, this is what I learned. Life is beautiful, but you have to accept the good and the bad as being beautiful. You can't accept the good. Oh, this is beautiful. Then we lose somebody. Oh, life sucks. Life is beautiful because life gives us the ability to just know them on our journey in life. We met them. We loved them. We cared about them. They cared about us. That's the purpose of life. Just to enjoy what we had, what we journeyed through it. Yeah, my pleasure, brother. I needed it. We all do. Because sometimes we don't understand, like, what is this thing? What is my purpose? Why am I here? Why do I have to go through this pain? Why do I have to go through this fear all the time? Why can't it just be peaceful all the time? Then it wouldn't be life. It wouldn't be life. We have to take life at its term, life on life terms, not life on our terms. We have to live life on life terms, not on our terms. Life is beautiful, but you have to.
Dog, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's freaking that dude that he's talking to. If you're listening to the audio only version, and honestly, you guys should start looking at Spotify and YouTube, but that guy's like crying. I don't know who that is, but you could tell that guy went through some shit. And he just happened to sit down at a table opposite of Mike Tyson of all people and got that perspective. Yep. And you could tell that guy had just been through some shit, probably relatively recently, lost somebody or something happened. And Mike he sat down on the other side of Mike Tyson of all people. You never think you're going to get that speech. And Mike Tyson just said that. And this is the duality that you deal with, where like a fucking monster later on in life can fucking touch other people and be beautiful with these speeches.
And you wouldn't have that wisdom if he didn't go through all that shit. That's just what it is. That's the reality of it. Like, it's no different than like if you were sheltered and you stay at home your whole life and you never venture out. What the fuck could you possibly learn? What experiences could you have? How much wisdom could you attain? It's not possible. You have to go through the ring. You just do, and that's kind of like, again, it sucks. It's a lot like a lot of the in psychology, some of the stuff that like we know to be true to some degree, or at least has been like thoroughly tested. A lot of the stuff that we know about human behavior came from studies that were really fucked up. That like we don't do anymore and will never allow anyone to do, and the boards will never let anyone do, but we're kind of happy that we had them because we learned a lot from them. It's a lot like that. You know what I mean? Like, think about the first person to ever like dissect a human body to kind of like learn how the organs work and shit. Pretty fucked up. But like, good came out of it. And it's a lot like that, dude. It's like you need to endure, you need to suffer to go through shit in order to flourish. Like, it's, if you want something to grow, you got to put some fucking dirt on it. It's just what it is, and that's kind of like, again, what I was talking about before is you do have that duality. You need, it's symbiotic, man. The darkness and the light, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you need it. You need it. Darkness is nothing but the absence of light, and so in order for you to appreciate either, you need both, and that's, it's just, again, it's beautiful, but at the same way, it can definitely suck and kick your ass. But yeah, no, it's cool, man. And that's why, like, I try and eat it all up. Like, we are so lucky to have access now because of social media to all of these people, everything from your favorite actor to your favorite athlete to your favorite, podcast host, aka Ryan Lapadat,
Yeah,
but,
man.
but you have access to these people, you can hear from them, you can learn from them, and you can absorb it. And not only that, but you can pick and choose what you want from that, and so, yeah, man, I think it's a blessing. And so that's what I try and do. Like, I genuinely do. Like, I really eat up all that stuff, everything from people like McGregor to, Bradley Cooper, anybody, I really do try and to absorb as much as I can. And I do believe you are what you eat, not just nutrition wise in terms of what you put in your mouth, but also what you put in your brain, what you allow yourself to consume, that will become your body, will become your thoughts, and that stuff matters. So
It is a really big thing I've noticed is like protect yourself with who you surround yourself with and what you digest. And like, there's some people who bring negative shit and like it. And like, there are other people where it's like, it's more of a positive vibe. Surround yourself with those people, man, as much as possible. Can you, people talk about like, they like to be isolated. They don't like people. Can you fucking imagine what real isolation is? Where can you imagine going through life without friends?
yeah, it's crazy.
Dog, if you drop me in the middle of a forest, some people are like, yeah, they show a picture of like a cabin in the middle of a forest and be like, wouldn't that be heaven? And I'd be like, that would be hell.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Dog, I just rumbled off 4 hours with Gavin talking about. Dude, are you kidding me, doggy? Like, this is what anyone listens to the podcast could be like, yeah, I could totally see how you guys could go to fucking Turkey and forget to sleep one night because you won't shut the fuck up.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, we enjoy our space. We enjoy
100%.
being alone, sometimes.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like, yeah, man, it's like, it's your relationships that make the memories. It's your relationships that make things meaningful, and like, at the end of the day, it's so true. Like, it's a double-edged sword. On one side, you pursue something for yourself to prove to yourself you're capable, to prove to yourself you're worthy of it, right? But then on the other side, you do it, A, to inspire, B, to share the experience with others, and C, to learn from others. You know what I mean? Like, it makes it fun. It makes it meaningful. It adds meaning to it because other people are watching. That's why social media works. It's because other people are fucking watching. You know what I mean? Half these motherfuckers that train and shit like that would not be training that way if it weren't for social media. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
it's true, So yeah, dude, 100%. I agree. No cabin in the woods, bro. We need a fucking castle.
Yeah.
We need a castle.
With like 40 of our boys and their families and everybody there.
100%. 100%.
Jim, you can have your alone time, but we're going to have the courtyard time too, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, for sure, man. Frig, dude, we crushed some crazy content here. This went in all types of crazy places. Holy smokes, man. I'm glad sometimes if it's just me on the podcast, I find we can almost go to certain places like this because it's a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah,
sometimes
definitely.
when I have either a co-host or someone comes on with someone else, like their coach or something, you're not quite always going to go in the same places.
Yeah, it's interesting. Every time I've done a podcast, I've never done it where I had like my babysitter with me, or like my coach with me or some shit. It's always kind of just like, so
But
it's strange.
Sometimes I'll have a coach on because I want to, I want to get their view on some things and stuff too. I do.
Right,
I mix it up, or I'll have two people, you and Taylor are on, or whatever the shit, right?
Yeah.
But also, I've noticed if it's just me on a podcast, like the last two podcasts, we've gone to some places, and I think people are more comfortable if it's just you and someone else. If they're just looking at you, as opposed to there's two people. It's always because it feels like 2-on-1, even though we're all just talking.
Yeah.
It feels like they're talking to two people and you're just talking to one when there's two hosts. And I think you're going to go to different places if it's just one-on-one. That's why like you have like a Joe
Yeah.
Rogan situation.
Well, yeah, and most people that you have on like know you, and so, I don't think I got to meet you in person before the first time we ever did a podcast together, but I don't remember. I'm not sure. I actually maybe I did, but either way, like obviously over the years
No,
our relationship has developed. So
we met each other after the first podcast.
it was
For
after.
sure. We had a podcast.
But
And
yeah, but the
then
podcast
you
was
ended up
after Raw Nats, right?
we had a
2021?
podcast after one of those, and then we like, and I was like, I knew like I like this guy. Then the USAPL shit happened.
Yeah.
Then you
Okay.
ended up going to Worlds.
Yeah.
Friggin' but yeah, man, there's something about that too. About like in terms of like podcasting. I don't know. I'm tinkering with these kind of different things in my mind's eye because I think sometimes it's good to have a co-host, and especially obviously preview shows, recap shows, whatever. And for certain people, it's good to have a co-host if it's more. But also when people come on the podcast, they've heard enough of these and seen enough of these. And then I meet people at events and they're pretty fucking comfortable with me because they hear me talk all the time about some crazy topics. It's not just powerlifting related. And like everything we talked about, like Jesus's, we went to places. We're going to go to places with a lot of different people, and people hear me, open up as well. So when people see me at events, they feel that way. And when people eventually come on the podcast themselves, it's a little easier to talk to that dude. I think, especially if it's a one-on-one.
Yeah, 100%. And it also it's great because like realistically nobody knows you beyond your lifting, right? So when you finally get to share your story a little bit, I think people enjoy that. People buy into that. It resonates with them, and we need more of that. And so, I think the SBD videos did a good job of spearheading that. But now, I think what that's done is opened up the floor for people to feel more comfortable sharing those things in things like these, in podcasts and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, in someone like Jesus, it's huge. I think that's like, oh man, dude, it's so important because like he may change. What he says now may not be what he'll say in 10 years, and his answers may change, and that's fine. But these are testaments to his process, to his journey. And this is just how I think of this stuff. One day your son's going to look at that, right? One day he may have a son or a daughter, and they're going to look and listen, and they're going to say, man, that's what my dad was thinking when he became the strongest fucking person in the world. That's what he was thinking. He was vulnerable. This is where his mind was, this or this is who was around him. Wow, that's great. And they're going to learn from that, and they're going to appreciate, they're going to use that. We didn't grow up with that, but the next gen will. And so it's crazy, man. And that's why, like, again, I think I'm always so grateful to be on stuff like this because I think it's always it's not just an opportunity to grow and, and be exposed to more people, or for more people to be exposed to me rather, but it's also an opportunity for me to share more of who I am, but then also receive that from you as well, and so it's dope, dude. Like, I love doing stuff like this. I'm always grateful for the opportunity to be on here with you.
Dude, it's so weird when you said it, but it's true. This is a timestamp. And in 10 years, we can go back to a random episode and be like, let me listen to this. Where was my headspace at that time period? And people who you haven't met yet in the future, like your future wife, kids, whatever, you will go back and listen. And it's kind of weird when you think about it.
Bro, I'm waiting for Marvel to give me a call and be like, hey, listen, we saw your Sheffield performance. We think you'd make a great Wolverine.
Yeah, man, for sure. You'd be a dynamite Wolverine, especially when you cut to 83.
Oh, dog.
Dicey.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, damn, would I go up to 105 or would I cut down to 83?
That's 83 all day, son.
I know, because I would be more shredded. But like, here's the thing. I feel like I could recomp and I could probably get pretty lean and be like, I think to cap my body out naturally, I could probably be pretty lean, 220, 225. Like, we're talking like sub 12% body fat. I think I could probably hit like 220, 225 as a natural athlete, but that would be tough. Like, that's going to take another 2-3 years of training. Or I could cut down to 83. Like if I were to win, for example, 93 Open, I would have a decision to make. At Sheffield, I would either go 83 or 93 probably. So, yeah. But also depends. Like, I mean, I saw Russ's stories and stuff. I knew they were gonna want to come over after this. So if he comes over and like I don't know what he's thinking. If I were him, I would honestly just go 93. Like you've done what you want to do in 83, just fucking go to 93. Like just eat, you know what I mean? Like let yourself. Obviously, he's hitting PRs. He's super strong at.
He hit
He's probably
885.
at like 90. Yeah, I saw that. So like, I mean, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. What it's.
Can you
like,
imagine him entering the battle of the 90? The 93s are stacked already, and if he comes, Brennan's gonna come. We already know that. He comes, Brennan's coming. So the 93s would be the 93 American nationals would be
Stupid.
absolutely insane. Let alone some of you guys got to go back to fucking USVI. You can't, but some people are going to have to figure it out. Some people are going to, we'll take you in Canada, bro. Let me know. New York A4. Let's talk, Playboy. We'll figure it out. Relax. We'll take you in a heartbeat. But I don't know. Live with me for a summer. I don't know. Whatever your address is, that's it. We'll make it work. Bring Delaney. We'll make it work. We'll make some paperwork happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, he would be absolutely the battle of the 93s would be bonkers.
Yeah,
it would be literally bonkers. And they would have to send 2 from the US.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I honestly I think what we'll end up doing is kind of paving the way for events like a Sheffield, because remember, they have wild cards. So like, yes, 100% the goal would be to win nationals and go to worlds. But I also know that Sheffield is not the end all be all. They will come up with other events to do throughout the year. And that alone will be other opportunities. Maybe, and Pete was kind of pitching this, maybe, I don't know if I should say this or not. I mean, I don't think it matters, but he was talking about some shit where it's like have an event where you just pick 2 weight classes and just have the battles in those weight classes for an event. That's a cool idea. Like, I think that's a cool idea. That could be it. Like, imagine all the meat is you take the 93s or you take 83s through 93s or 83s through 105s and they all battle each other,
Yeah.
So,
I mean, ideas like this get kicked around, whatever's going to happen, but it's true. Like something will stick, something will stick where it's like, okay, let's try this. When you literally blow the barn doors off like they did with Sheffield and just wow everybody, we got a winning formula going here.
Yeah.
100%. It doesn't have to be as big as Sheffield will be the big one. It'll always be the big one. But you can have other side projects and other side missions if you like. Who knows? Yeah. And just I think that'd be an amazing idea to
100%. I do like I really do. I want everybody to eat. I think there's more than enough on the table for everybody to eat. And I do. I think I really do think that people will come over now. I mean, the biggest excuse is always like, well, I only want to go where the competition is, and I only want to. And it's like, dog, shut the fuck up. Like, we're in powerlifting. You put up numbers, and that's how you compare. You know what I mean? Whether you do it in your backyard or in Sweden or in South Africa or in Sheffield, UK, the numbers are numbers. That's the cool thing about our sport. I get it. There's different variables and different circumstances and stuff. But honestly, if you're simply stronger and your numbers are there, then fuck it. Then that's it. It's just what it is. You know what I mean? So for me personally, it's not about that. It's about decide for yourself, what kind of legacy do you want to leave? Are you going to be able to leave that at the Arnold Pro, or do you think the Sheffield is probably the better route? And I think the choice is.
Can you imagine getting the invite for both and choosing Arnold Pro? With all due respect, Arnold Pro is awesome.
It's great.
But could you imagine being like, I think I'll take Arnold Pro.
I'm just saying, because I know athletes who not that they were talking shit about the Sheffield, but they're like, nah, it's not that. Like, who cares? It's
whatever. Come on.
Like,
but that was cope. That was cope. That was cope. Everyone knew it was cope ahead of time. It's like, you're trying to cope. Yeah. That's what it is. And now that we've seen Sheffield, it's like, we already know. Like, nobody can actually argue, like, no, Sheffield isn't the biggest and biggest and best event in powerlifting. Everybody knows, man. And there's something special about going to like a world championships too. It is what it is, man.
100%.
It's the fucking world championships.
You're at the top level. And you're battling people that are international, people from all over the world who are the best at what they do in their country. You know what I mean? Like, it's special, man. It's special. You can't replicate it. So, like I said, obviously, I think it's pretty obvious that Russ is trying to figure out how to come over. I'm sure they'll let him come over. In terms of like Bob, Ashton, I already spoke to Ashton about it briefly, and, he feels like he has some unfinished business, but then he's definitely thinking about coming over, so like, they're looking, they're thinking about it, and I'm sure that they will try to come over, and I hope that they do. I think, the more competition, the better. Yeah, and I think it would be crazy, crazy, crazy if we all just stacked up into one weight class,
Dude,
So
think about it wasn't that long ago. We're talking 2019 Worlds. Everybody was under one roof. Like, this is all I knew until a few years ago. Some people came in kind of recently, and that's all they know is a split. All I knew was everybody was under the same roof.
Yeah.
And there was only one
it was crazy.
pathway.
Yeah.
And that was
and
it.
And like, you didn't think anything of it, right? Because like you go from, like, at least for us, like, we didn't think anything of it. It's like, yeah, you have to win nationals, period. You have to win nationals. And if you didn't win, it was like, fuck. All right. Well,
Yeah, you don't go to Worlds. And after nationals was Worlds.
Yeah.
And then you go to Worlds and see what the hell happens. Like when Russ was done at nationals, he had to go face off with Brett Gibbs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's always like somebody out there who's coming from the other side. I don't know. Either way, we'll see what happens, man. I think Sheffield's going to change a lot. And God bless SPD, man. You don't want to hear what's something that's funny? Like 2 hours ago when we played the name game, I thought we were wrapping up.
Well, I thought so too. Usually the name game comes at the end. But we just did a whole nother
that's
podcast.
the midpoint now. It's the midpoint now, Playboy. People are going to hear the name game like, oh, we're halfway through now. And when do we start talking about suicide? Because that's a new segment that I've introduced based off of the last two podcasts. When then Ryan cries, and then fucking what's the next segment? This is what we do. We turn it back around.
Mike Tyson and
Dog, I got segments coming out of nowhere all of a sudden. But listen, man. All right, we for really will fucking will wrap it up. What do you have? Like, plug your coaching services, the app, and all the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, well, first and foremost, I appreciate you for having me on again, and for letting me chew your ear off, and for everybody listening. We would not be able to do what we do without you guys. So thank you guys so much, truly from the bottom of my heart. And like, all the support for Sheffield and all you motherfuckers who are like, Gavin got robbed, they stole it from Gavin. Thank you. Fucking thank you. All right. I love you.
Keep leaving those comments.
Yeah, keep leaving them. Let them know. All right. No, but yeah, man, honestly, I don't even really want to plug anything, man. I'm very grateful and honored just to be doing what I do, and I appreciate all the support and love so far. And I'm just finding my way. I'm doing what I think is right, and I'm grateful to be able to do what I do. I do want to say thank you though, for sure, to SPD. I think obviously everybody who's listening would already probably know this, but SPD is killing it right now, and they are absolutely fucking. Do you guys have no idea what's coming? Like, it's crazy. And what they did with SPD was insane. Like, I mean, with Sheffield was insane. And like, I don't think people can appreciate it because, maybe most people listening are not athletes of SPD, but we were looked after. Like, I didn't really ever feel like they kind of just tossed us aside and, just put us up and that was it. Like, we had everything taken care of, like, genuinely. Like, Pete was there no matter what. All I had to do was just shoot him a message. Training, where can we train? Done. Food, done. Sauna, done. Like, everything was checked off, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that as an athlete, who travels the world to do this. It's hard, man, and it was awesome. So yeah, I do have my website is gavinadintraining.com, and I'm kind of revamping everything. I will be putting up for pre-order the like some merch, Burn Your Ships merch, which I think is pretty cool. So that's going to be launching pretty soon. And yeah, man, just building and scaling. But again, I appreciate everybody who's been listening. So, dude,
I appreciate the fuck out of you coming on the podcast. And, like, we could talk for like 4 hours, do a podcast in 2 months, and we'll crush another 4. Like, fucking
easy.
easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But yeah, thanks for coming on the podcast, my man. And for everybody listening, please do subscribe, give us high ratings. Post up in the Instagram in your stories, and I'll repost. I'm seeing people post up Taylor of like people I know, and only because I follow them, I see them post them. If you don't tag me, I can't repost this. People just post it, which I appreciate. Taylor, thank you. I think Celine the Machine did, and I'm like, you guys aren't tagging me. I can't repost these. I think people forget or whatever. It is what it is. I appreciate the listens anyways. But until next time, 6-pack Lapadat, 6 up. We are out.